Welcome, welcome. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I did. I texted you. I texted you just a minute ago. I know it wasn't very long heads up because I forgot to do it earlier, but I did text you a minute ago. I'm sorry it wasn't a longer heads up. My bad, Ellen. My bad. Anyway, good morning, everyone. Get your coffees or whatever it is that you're drinking in the morning, tea, whatever, and sits down. We got some talking to do. Quite a bit of talking to do, actually. I'm just going to give everybody a minute. Yeah. I did, in case anybody has been on Twitter this morning, post something that I have been holding in or refraining from saying. Well, I fixed it. I already fixed it. I don't know. Maybe it won't fix until after, but I did fix it. So that's weird. I don't know. Maybe refreshing because I did fix it. So, for quite some time, as of last year, I knew that the federal investigation was over. I confirmed it a year ago. And I also knew at the time that Ted Daniels got the same information at the same time that I did. And yet, still, Ted said nothing for a year. For a year, he said nothing. Did his interviews with Karen, said nothing. Didn't ask any questions that were hard-hitting, knowing it was over, said nothing. Continued to allow people to be harassed, cyber-stalked, blackmailed. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Said nothing. So when all the news outlets picked it up about a day after people like me and Kevin and a couple other people knew already and like announced it as we knew it was something that was coming forth publicly soon, he still said nothing. He still said nothing. Still said not a damn thing. Not, hey, I knew this for a year, or hey, this has been coming for a long time. Nothing. Said nothing. I don't know how Ted doesn't have just a smidgen of guilt, like a little bit, Ted? No? Come on, Ted. Have some fucking integrity. Not a little? Not a smidge? No? Nada? Nothing? Not even a little bit? You don't feel bad that you knew this for a year? I knew for a year, but I said something. I'm not mainstream media. So besides you guys that watch me all the time, besides my amazing, awesome viewers who do listen, I don't expect random people who have never watched me before to magically, and especially not the cult, to magically believe me, right? Obviously, there are reasons why both me and Ted, I'll give him at least this credit. You can't come out and say who your source is. You can't say what information you got, and you can't say how, right? So, like, you wouldn't be a good investigator or reporter or podcaster if you just started handing out your sources and where you got the information. So, like, yeah, everyone on planet Earth knows that. I love when the cult jumps in and goes, well, if you don't show me the receipts, it didn't happen. No, it happened. It happened. And you can go back to my year-old videos telling you that it was over then. It's been over. But my problem isn't how long it's been over, because I, unlike Ted, told people it was over. And I confirmed it was over. It's been over. Ted said nothing. Ted just said nothing. Said nothing until it was about to be publicly come out. And then it's, sources. Come on, Ted. Hey, Richard. Come on, Ted. Have a little bit of goddamn integrity, Ted. You've known for a fucking year. You found out the same time as me. You got the same information as me. Yet here we are, Ted. It's been over. When are you going to tell the general public that you've known this entire time? Because I think they deserve to know that mainstream media knew this entire time and said nothing. I can't speak for other reporters or what they knew or when they knew it. But I can speak to the fact that Ted's known for a year. He's lost all credibility in my eyes, which is really sad because I used to really like Ted. Um, he is on our local news, right? But like at this point, it's like if mainstream media can't even tell the correct story, or they're holding back information because they allow this conspiracy to keep going, and in the meantime, people are getting hurt. You're just as bad as people doing the hurting of others. I'm sorry, but you are. You're just as bad. Like I know it's bonkers, Otter. It's I live in a different reality when I go on Twitter and I read some of this stuff because it's like, bro, you guys, it's been over for a effing year, okay? It's done. It's over. It's been over, okay? Do they think Chief Rafferty was there for funsies? Chief Rafferty just showed up that day for funsies. Like, no, she showed up because Hank had a motion that he was going to get to that it pertained to, and that is when he was going to address it. But Alessi ran out the clock talking about nothing for 4 hours, as we know, and he did that on purpose, knowing that this information was going to be given. But I don't know what he thought. Like, you might stop Ted from speaking, right, Ted? They stopped you from speaking for a year, but eventually it all comes out. It all comes out. Truth will always come out. Like, it's just a little crazy to me that we have to keep having this argument about whether it's over or not. It's over. It's been over for a year. It's been over for a goddamn year. I told you guys that last year. Told you when I confirmed it last year. They don't. It's really sad at this point to me that we're at that point where not even mainstream media can tell the truth, and they sit on this information for a year without saying anything, and they watch as people get stalked, cyber stalked, harassed, criminally harassed. Like the list goes on and on. And it's not just 1 or 5 or 10 or 20 people. We're talking in the hundreds at this point. In the hundreds at this point, me being one of them. So he just sat there and he did nothing. I don't care if your boss has told you to do nothing, Ted. Have some goddamn integrity. Have some effing integrity, Ted. It's a little sad, okay? It's just a little sad. I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding why you sat on it for so long. It's been bugging me for quite a long time. And then you waited until it was about to be publicly revealed. And even, I will give him this one thing. The cult started to tell him, no, Ted, it can't be true. You just think it's true, right? You're just saying that because you thought it was true. And at least Ted said, no, it's over. Yes, it's been over, Ted. Tell them, Ted, how it's been over and how you knew the entire time. Like, yes, I can, Ellen. I just got your text. It really bugs me, like really bugs me, because for all this time, we have been allowing these people to do this. The mainstream media could have at least like stopped some people from acting a fool if they realized long ago that the federal investigation was over. There are no indictments. There are no arrests. They found zero corruption. They found zero collusion. They found mean texts from Proctor. That is what they found. I told you the guys that a year ago. I stick to that now because that is exactly the information that I got a year ago. That is it. That's all they found. They didn't find a cover up. They cleared everyone. Now we have this. I love this one. We have the sewer turtle now, not only claiming that the federal investigation is still on, as we know, that's completely and utterly false, but that now it's not Proctor that you know, threw the taillight down underneath the snow magically, bippity boppity, right under the snow there for the CERT team, even though they were all standing right there. So now he's saying, no, it wasn't Proctor. Nope. I've been saying for a year it was Proctor and he broke the taillight and he threw it there. But now it's not. It's the guy that left the Sally point. That's the guy. That's the one. What? I'm sorry, what? The CERT team was still on scene, sir. still on scene, sir. If you're actually believing those words and you don't realize at this point that the story starts to change, the truth doesn't change. It doesn't change, guys. Like, it just doesn't. We're talking about going from saying for 2 years that Proctor smashed a taillight and hit it. Now it's the guy who's in the Sally Port with him. I mean, it can't get any more freaking bonkers than that. It literally can't. Like, what? Like, the investigation's over. So not only is he wrong about that, but he knows he's wrong. That's what really irks me, is not only that he's feigning, that's what I'll do later, is feign ignorance. Well, I didn't know in my source system. He knows it's over. He knows. Did anybody stop and think why Alan Jackson, David Yannetti had no comment to that? They usually have a million comments, right? Like, no, that's not true. That is what they would have said had they not already known. Common sense here, everyone. I know you can use it. And I know I'm not talking to my viewers, because my viewers actually listen and have common sense. I'm listening to the other ones of you that don't have common sense, who watch from the bushes because you're blocked, because you come here to try to like harass people, and that's we don't allow that here. It's literally all they have. That's another good one. No. Barb, Fanning wasn't even in this investigation. Fanning had nothing to do with the Karen Reed case at all, other than being the trooper who was assigned to the jury. And every time there's a jury, especially a high-profile one, there is a trooper assigned to them. Fanning had nothing to do with the Karen Reed investigation, so definitely couldn't be Fanning. Was not involved at all. Yes, sprinkle, sprinkle, right? Sprinkle. That's what he said. You know what, Jack? It might have been the boogeyman. Why are my comments coming up like way high up? I'm totally confused as to why they are now huge and coming up. Like, why? Why is that happening? Hold on. Let me see if there's a different. No. Interesting. I don't know why they're that big now. Is this a way I can make them smaller? I don't understand. That is like a new thing, because like before they would come up smaller at the bottom. Like, I don't know why they're so big. This is weird. Nope. There's no way to change that? That's weird. Why is it like huge like that? I don't understand. Weird. Right? Breadstick money. Yes, breadstick money. Yes, if you do want to donate to the channel, the ticker is at the bottom of the screen, and you can do that, and I will greatly appreciate you. The Easter Bunny and the Tooth. It could have been the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. I mean, add them to the conspiracy, guys. Just add them. Add them all in. Well, that's what he did it on purpose. That was the whole point, right? Talk. And he said literally nothing. Literally nothing. Not a damn thing for 4 goddamn hours. And as a matter of fact, what he did say was that he's not going to say that ARC is not biased, which is the most hilarious thing I've ever heard on planet Earth. Thank you, Alessi, for telling the judge that you are not going to say that they're not biased, aka saying that they are biased. The judge definitely wants to keep them in because you think they're biased. You're one smart dude. That guy's so smart. Oh, God. Nobody can compete with the specialist environmental law. No sirree, Bob. Put that in your juice box and suck it, people. I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? I literally, yeah. I don't know if there's a brain in there. You give him too much credit, Ellen. I'm not sure there's one in there exactly. You know what? Ashley broke it, right? Ashley broke it. She's the only one who successfully, fought his false lies, assertions, and fake charges that he always brings up on anyone who questions or can actually validate that he lies and make shit up. Then he likes to try to like go after fake charges against you, as he has done in numerous occasions against numerous people. But Ashley here is his kryptonite. Didn't work in her case. She was able to prove it. I know you were joking, but my response was for the people who weren't. who aren't joking when they say that. For all the rest of them. It could have been the ghost. Could have been the ghost. It might have been. It could have, might have been. It's Miss Scarlet. Professor Plum, yeah, it was Miss Scarlet in the bathroom with the shower curtain. That's exactly what he'll claim next. And why? Why, you say? Why Fanning? Well, I can tell you, because Fanning was involved in arresting him. So he's a little salty, a little bit salty. Well, don't commit crimes and you won't have to be arrested. There's that, I'm just saying, like there's that. I get these clips all the time of because I refuse to watch a liar, so I will not watch his stuff. I have brave people that watch it for me, and they send me clips, and it's funny because he'll go on and on and on about how he was arrested for Karen Reed. He was arrested for being a journalist and speaking the truth. No, sir, you were arrested for going to your ex-girlfriend's house, threatening her and her children, and literally torturing her mentally and emotionally for hours, and telling her she needed to lie for you. That is why you were arrested. After you then tried to grab the notes that you forced her to go through her phone for 4 hours, and you tried to grab the notes that she took from her notebook, not your notebook, her notebook in her house, and you wrestled her for them and pushed her onto the couch. That is what you were arrested for, sir. You were arrested for a crime, witness intimidation, and then you also wiretapped her. So there's also the wiretapping charge on that. So you were not arrested for speaking for Karen or freedom of speech. You were arrested for crime, sir. Stop it. You're fooling absolutely zero people, like besides the people that are in your cult. And you and I both know that when your trial comes, all that stuff that you don't want out there, all that stuff you've been trying to hide for so long now, it's coming out, bub. It's coming out, and they're gonna know. Just saying. Just saying. Yes, good morning, Jen. Well, I just did, so there's that. there's that. There's that. There's that. I'm not new. I am old. I'm old channel. I am not new channel. Yeah, okay. I literally got a text from a lot of people, but specifically one of my friends who was like, "This is so bad," and I was like, "This is insufferable." Insufferable. You guys know because I streamed it here with you. Like, it was fucking insufferable, and I have to listen to it, right? Like, because I have to listen to his legal arguments. So I literally have to listen to what he's saying, and I'm like, not only was that the most convoluted mess I have ever heard, but it didn't get down to any of the actual points of anything other than doing exactly what I said he would do. Exactly what I said he would do, which was point the fingers at the Commonwealth, try to confuse a little bit, whine and cry, and then play linguistical gymnastics with words. Well, Your Honor, we said this, this, and this. We didn't actually use the word. You're insulting the judge's intelligence. And then at one point, this was a good one. I mean, go back to law school, Alessi. At one point, okay, he actually like completely, and if I was the judge, I'd have been annoyed at this point, like uses what the judge said and tells the judge what she said, okay, and then uses the words that she said and wants to tell her the definitions of the words that she said. I'm sorry, what? You want to insult the judge's intelligence and act like she's an idiot and tell her what she said? I can't, what? Lawyering 101, bub. Not smart. Like, come on, man. Like, I literally can't. I may or may not, but I can tell you that there's a crap ton more. There's a crap ton more data. Like, I think Hank used the word voluminous. Like, there's a lot of data. A lot of data. So there is new data. There is new data. Also, I love that like while we're still saying like, the federal investigation isn't over on the cult side, they completely miss the key things that happen, which are Rafferty didn't come there for her health. Okay. She didn't come there for funsies. She came there because that's what was going to happen until Alessi ran the clock out, which you can just expect to happen this week. And then they missed completely when the judge then asked the defense, are you guys all one by one? She asked them one by one. One by one, they had to stand up and answer. Are you saying that everything that Mr. Alessi just said is correct? There's no mischaracterizations. And they all answered yes. And there is a reason, and only one reason, why a judge would ask that. Because she's anticipating that they might try to appeal whatever decision she makes. And she wants to make sure that they're locked into what he just said, that they cannot change it. They cannot say something was wrong and Mr. Alessi confused something later on. Because now they're on the record saying, nope, no mischaracterizations. That's it, Your Honor. That's what happened. There's only one reason a judge would do that. And everyone missed it. Apparently, except for like me and one other person. Like, come on, man. Like, I know, right? And I very well think that the judge will give Hank. I mean, he doesn't need all day. That's the kicker. It's like he proves it every time. Like, you can speak for 4 hours, but he doesn't need 4 hours to rebut your bullshit. It's really that simple. It doesn't. Yes, my cat and I welcome, of course. But no, I have been covering this case since 2023. I took a break. I have an older child who needs bone marrow transplant, and so for the last 6 months I have been on a hiatus. So that's why you haven't seen me. But I am here. I am here. Yeah, I'm not buying anyone's a volunteer. They're getting something out of it, whether it's the clout, the fame, the fortune, whatever they think they're going to get out of this. Like, that's what it is. I mean, yeah, he does seem like a law student, except law students know, Jennifer, that you don't insult the judge. That's like lawyering 101. I mean, listen. If I moved, I think there's 2 states in the USA. If I moved to one of those 2 states, and I'd have to like establish residency, so you have to live there for like 6 months, I think. I could actually take the bar in those 2 states and just take it. I wouldn't have to like go back to school and like do the whole credit thing. I could just take the bar. Believe me, I've contemplated it. I have contemplated it. Oh yeah, it was his fun thing to scream at everything. I think he thinks it makes more of a point. It doesn't, sir. You just look like a jackass. Also, when Hank is nice and calm, cool, collected, and he can just give the points in the timeline, boop, 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 done. You look like a jackass for talking for 4 hours, well, screaming for 4 hours, and saying nothing. He said nothing. There was nothing that he said of substance. Nothing. As a matter of fact, he shot the defense in the foot numerous times. At one point, he says something about the ARCA being biased, and something else he says, and actually Karen opens her eyes wide, and she kind of sits back a little to like hide behind the other lawyers, but you can see her face and Alan Jackson's face like, oh, fuck, what did he just say? What is wrong with him? Like, even they were not happy with his performance. It was all over their faces. Like, that's another thing. If they're not getting paid and they are, as you would say, pro bono, what's the fundraising for? For what? If it's pro bono and they're working pro bono, what are you fundraising for? Karen's hotel stay at the Omni? Smith and Walensky dinners? Apparently Smith and Walensky picks up the tab when they have dinner there. So like, why Smith and Walensky? I just want to know why, because I'm pretty sure you have some pretty high clientele, and I'm going to bet not all of them are going to appreciate you pushing a conspiracy and a cover-up that didn't happen and then comping the murderers' meals. Pretty sure they're not going to want to have dinner at your restaurants all over the country and even outside the country if they knew that. No one needs to advise her. She's a judge. Of course she knows what she's doing. You know, she knows exactly what she's doing. I find it funny that no one picked up. I mean, I guess lawyers picked up on it, but there was 2 people that I talked to specifically privately afterwards because I picked up on it. And one of them was a lawyer, and one of them was like, I didn't even pick up on that good pick. And the other one was like, I picked up on that as well. So I know the lawyers picked up on it. Funny that some of them aren't saying anything about it. You know, your YouTube gifters over there. Like, I can't. LawTube grifters are like probably the worst on planet Earth at this point. Like literally. I can't. I like can't. They know what they're saying is garbage. They do. They absolutely do. And then you have the ones that don't even actually know the law and literally just nonsense, or they didn't bother to actually look up the law in this state versus their state. And I find that a lot of them are actually civil attorneys. Civil and criminal are very, very different. Very different. So I find it funny that they say all this BS, knowing most of it isn't true. I think they believe some of it up here. I really do think they do believe some of it. But I know that they know most of it is absolute garbage. They stay because these people just keep donating to them like the cows come home, like dono after dono after dono after dono. That's what they want, right? The money. Like they want the donos to keep coming in. I mean, any channel wants to be able to run, right? Like, you know, if you're a smaller channel, of course, you want to be able to cover your costs and make a couple bucks. But these aren't people who need, these are people who are making 3 figures already. So I don't see the need to lie when you're making 3 figures. I certainly don't see the need to lie even when you're not. I certainly don't make 3 figures. I'm a poor person. Like we know. Like my family is the working poor. It's that simple. Like, but we pay our taxes and we live like everyone else on planet Earth. But you have lawyers out here getting on these YouTube channels and just lying for donation. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you people? Like what? I don't understand. I'm not grasping. Like, you know, this is just insane. Like, well, that's another thing. I think she needs to give him a time limit. Give Alessi a damn time limit, bro. Give him a freaking time limit. You have 30 minutes, sir. Say something in those 30 minutes. Like, you only have 4 hours to say nothing. Like, well, that's what he did. He wasted time. He just wasted time. It's exactly what he did, Ashley. He wasted time. And you're right. And Brennan blew it out of the water in 45 minutes. He fucking dropped the hammer. If you remember the very last thing that Hank said that day was, Your Honor, Mr. Alessi does not like the word retained anymore. He doesn't like that word anymore, right? Doesn't like the word retained, doesn't want me to say it. Cool, great. We don't have to. Let's use the defense's own words. And he picked up a motion that the defense filed, that they filed on the 16th, just days prior. And what did that motion say? The motion says, here comes the defendant, Karen Reed, in her motion of opposition to the defense's, you know, motion to keep ARCA out. And in that motion, it stated, and Jackson Little and Alessi signed it. Basically, it said, well, we didn't pay for or hire ARCA, and they're independent. They're neutral. That's what it said, neutral. They're a neutral party. We did not pay for or hire ARCA. They're a neutral party. I'm sorry, what? Neutral? No. Like, that was it. Brennan dropped the mic. Boop. Just a couple days ago, this is what they said, Your Honor. Being disingenuous. Why? Because they didn't. And I'll tell you exactly why. People are like, oh, you know, the defense handed it over. So it can't be that it was hidden because they handed it over. Do you know why they handed it over? Come here. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, Colt. I'm gonna let you in on a little smidgen secret. You wanna know what the secret is? The secret is on the 12th, February 12th, the U.S. Attorney's Office gave some materials. And it was very clear from those materials that they gave, both the defense and the Commonwealth, that they were now giving more than they did when Levy was there, right? And specifically because of what Hank was asking for. They knew there was a real big possibility that ARCA had to give up those emails, or parts of them at least, or the feds had them because they might have been asked for copies from ARCA when they knew they were talking. So the defense didn't have a choice, folks. They did not have a choice but to hand those over. Because if you get caught, it's worse than just giving it up. So they gave it up. But that was only because they were forced to. Absolutely forced to. Yeah, I'm sorry, but like they also argue that that picture of him with his arms around her is fake. It's completely real. It's 100% real, just so everyone knows. I know we cleared that up last year, but no, my cat and I am not. I was a witness twice in my life, once when I was 12. And from that very moment that I had to be a witness on the stand, and the lawyer who was crossing me asked the same question 3 times, but in different ways, right? Different words. He's trying to elicit a different response from me. Well, he wasn't getting a different response from me because that was the answer. The answer was the truth, so that's what he got. And from that moment, I knew that I just absolutely was fascinated with the law. And I just started studying it, like dude, the amount of books that I had, just stacks and stacks of law books. I used to sit in on trials and watch them. I also did a couple civil cases, helped my friends put together some pro se civil cases. There's so many different things that I've done over the years. Like I worked in a prison, so we did a lot of back and forth with the inmates to the court, so I could sit in and watch there too. But most of my love of the law, after I went to school and had to leave, I have a child with a terminal illness that she was born with. And so I didn't get to finish school. I didn't get to finish school and go and take the bar, as was my dream, unfortunately. I had bigger, important things to deal with. But I never stopped reading every new Supreme Court decision, every new law that's enacted, every subsection and section. I was just fascinated with it. And since I've seen the procedural trials, civil trials, probate, like you name it, I pretty much know it. There are some things in like real estate law that I really didn't care too much for, to be honest. Air rights was actually a really, really interesting thing to learn, though, about the air rights they have in buildings. Certain buildings are built. They have sort of rights outside of for the view. It's called air rights. But there are some like real estate law stuff that I really couldn't tell you. But outside of that, I'm pretty well versed. Yeah, it is like a handful of people, Jen. It is. Well, I mean, she was like 150 days or something like that in the hotel. It's like over 100 grand, dude. 100 grand. Smith and Walensky Steakhouse. Well, one is through his law firm. One of them. But when you send it directly to her PayPal and her Cash App, that is not through his website. That's straight to her or her Venmo. It's straight to her. Yeah, it is. Oh, definitely flying first class. You know, I've never seen Carl. I'm not familiar, but I know there are a lot of people disappointed with a lot of different law tubers over this case, and I can't blame them. I can't blame them because when you know they're spewing nonsense, that's what really gets you. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what really gets you is when you know they're lying. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to lie for clicks and views and money. Is it nice to be able to cover expenses on my channel and have a couple bucks for food or toilet paper or shampoo? Yes, yes, it is. But I'm not willing to lie for it. I'm not going to do it. I won't do it. Like, you know, like they choose to continue to do it. That's on them, and they have to live with themselves, and they have to look themselves in the mirror every day. I sleep just fine, other than not sleeping because of my chronic pain. I sleep just fine with a nice, clear conscience. I help people. I've been a volunteer advocate for 18 years. Anybody who asks for my help, I help. I might not be able to give them money, right? But I do what I can for them. And usually they're not looking for money. They're looking for knowledge. They're looking for somebody to get on a phone call with them and call the state and help them with getting into a shelter or getting away from domestic violence or signing up for Social Security or, whatever, getting medical rides to the doctor, like whatever it is. I have never said no to someone for helping them, ever. I think it's important to like not be selfish and to think about other people. I think it's important to remember that you have neighbors that might look like they're doing just fine and great, and deep inside they might not be doing so great. They might look like they have everything on the outside, but if you stepped into their house and opened their fridge, do they have food inside? Are they afraid to tell anyone because it's embarrassing that they need help? And this is why I say check in on people, dude. Like, just check in on people. Most of you know my dad, who raised me, who adopted me when I was a kid. He committed suicide when I was 21. He didn't talk to people. He didn't tell people what was going on with him and why he was, living with that kind of dread. Like, and I wish he had. It's important to check in on people. It's important to make sure they're okay. Oh, yeah, probably. I wouldn't doubt it. Hi, my dear. Hello. They have sold their souls. I agree with you, Jack. They have sold their souls. Well, yeah, popularity too. Their channels grow twice as fast, and that kind of stuff. But I mean, is it worth it in the long run? Is your integrity worth it? Is you telling the truth worth it? Was that all worth it? Because at the end of the day, what you have is a bunch of viewers who aren't actually there because they like what you have to say and they like your take on all the cases you do. They're there for one reason only, because someone told them to be. Someone said you were covering that specific case and you were for the conspiracy. They're not there for you. They're there for that. I don't want that. I don't want those kind of viewers, because I have plenty of viewers who are actually free Karen Reed who watch me and then will text me and we have actual like conversations, or they'll send me a message on Twitter, like, and we have conversations without trying to disparage one another or insult one another or put false information out about people because you just don't like them. Like, we have real conversations, like real ones. It's just insane to me. Like, this whole thing is a freaking circus. There is a reason why on that day that we decided to go do that first protest, counter protest at the courthouse during jury deliberations. And it was because they had the balls to go down to the VFW where the O'Keefe family was. Like, come on, they're there. You're not getting in. Why go down there? And that was the straw for us. A bunch of us got together and said, you know what? No, we're going to go down there and we're going to show our support for the family and the people who have been harassed. We've been harassed. Like, we're going to go show our support because this has crossed a line. But no, we're not going to spend every single day there. It was to make a point that this is not okay. And it wasn't okay. Still isn't okay. Like, I know. It is. Listen, I've been getting trashed like that since the winter of 2023. Every single day. Every single day. It never ends. It just goes on and on and on. Like, the amount of lies and stories they tell about yourself, like, really, where was I for that? Like, they will make up anything. It doesn't matter. It's sad. Like, I am not going to go out of my way to make up something about someone. I'm not going to go out of my way to be rude and mean to someone. I'm not going to spend all day on Twitter disparaging people I don't agree with. I'm going to say something if you say something to me, or if you want to get rude with me, I'm going to defend myself. But I am certainly not going to sit there all day and be like, this about their looks, this about their face, this about their house or apartment, or whether they have dogs or not, or whether they're a cat person. Like, what? Like, what? No. And that's another thing. Like, it's sad though, because it's like the whole reason I enjoyed doing live streams was so I could break down the law in a way that people can understand in layman's terms. The law is complicated, the words they use are complicated, and I wanted to be able to explain to people how it works, what happens next, what doesn't happen next, what could happen next, what does this motion mean, what does what they're saying mean in layman's terms. I wanted people to be able to understand it and maybe love it the way I do. I certainly don't want people to make a circus out of it. And how are you going to do that if all the law tubers are jumping on this bandwagon? Who's left? Who's left to explain it? I mean, I might not be a lawyer, but I damn well can explain it. Probably better than some that are. So who's left? There's nobody left. There's nobody left to explain it. Like, it did. 45 minutes did take. It's insane to me. Absolutely insane. It took all that time to say nothing. Like, well, that's it. They want the money. They want the donos. They want the clicks, the views. We all want to run a channel successfully and make a decent amount of money doing it. But I'm not willing to lie for it. I'm not. Some shows I make nothing, zero, no dollars, no cents. I'm not monetized right now. I'm a very small channel, so I can only take my donations through Venmo and Cash App and PayPal. And it scrolls at the bottom of my screen, and anybody who chooses to do so will be appreciated and will be thanked on air, because I don't always say the names because I know some people want to remain anonymous, which is fine. But sometimes there's a good little comment they want me to read, or like whatever. And I want them to know that I appreciate them. But I'm not here to see how much extra dollars I can make. I'm here to educate. Is it nice to have money in your pocket to buy your kid an ice cream? Like, is it nice to have money in your pocket to buy a few extra groceries? Yeah, great, wonderful, it is. But I'm not willing to sit here and lie to do that. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. Like, any information that comes out that I can give you, I always have, and I always will. I'm not willing to sit here and lie when I know something isn't true. It's really hard for after the evidence. There's a big difference between before any of the evidence in the Karen Read case came out and after. Before, we didn't have a full picture of what was there. We had people's word, and we had what we were being told, okay, from the cult and the cult leader. It seemed viable at the time that this could have possibly happened. And as little things got pulled out, you were like, oh, that's a little strange. That's a little strange. That's a little strange. Problem with that is when you get the explanations for those things and the receipts, they end up being really mundane, not actually strange things. And so it led a lot of people to believe a lot of things that just weren't true. So it's real hard to then turn around and not, say, you know what, I was wrong before we had the evidence. And that's the problem, is people are so deep now. They're in so deep that they're not willing to look and say, oh my God, I might have been wrong. That they're not willing to tell the world they might have been wrong. They don't want to do that. That is not something that they want to do. They want to be able to say, I didn't know the entire time. Or just keep saying it until the cows come home, and they're never, ever going to go back on it because they're too deep now. Too deep. They can't go back. That's not a thing. They cannot. And I think that's the problem is at this point, if they say they're wrong, then the cult attacks, right, immediately, tells them they're a hack, they're this, they're that, blah, 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 rightfully so at that point. But they don't actually correct the false information. And so they either keep on going or they don't go at all. And so they just keep on going. You know what? I'll take my licks. If that's the case, I had to admit I was wrong back in 2023 when the information came out. I had to admit that, and that's okay. That's cool. Because here we are in 2025. And since then, we've gotten every piece of information from here to Kalamazoo and actual evidence to go with it that proves that she just can't be innocent. It's just not plausible at this point. John's phone stops moving forever, seconds after she backs up. You might as well have a videotape of it to stamp in time. He never goes into the house. The phone is found underneath John. I do have a dono here. I just want to read it real quick. It's $10 from Anastasia. Thank you, Anastasia. I love your face. Thank you so much. I have to just refresh like my PayPal because I only get an email for some reason. I don't actually get a notification that shows me that I got it. So I have to always check. It's just really sad, like, yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that. I used to like Emily, but once again, if you have to keep the lies going, it's kind of a problem. I don't know. I said in the first trial, I think you guys will remember this, that I said in the very first trial that I thought that the jury should have been sequestered, right? I still believe that now. The jury should have and should be sequestered. I do not think that will actually happen, but I believe it should have, and they should sequester the jury. They're just going to have to do some really good vetting But you can bet your behind that Hank is going to make sure that that is done and it is done correctly. Yes, please do hit the like button. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and make sure you hit the notification bell that says all, because when you subscribe, and I just realized this the other day when I subscribed to someone else's channel, you actually have to like click the bell because it just does some, and you have to click it to all if you want to see all the live streams when they come on. You'll get the notification for all of them. It's set to like some for some reason. It's weird. Weird. Morning, Francesca. Ugh, thesaurus. Oh, so I'm so ready for Russell. I will give a little bit of you know, a critique. I don't think the judge should have ever allowed her. Not in the first trial, not in the second trial, but I welcome her because she made a complete fool out of herself in the first trial and absolutely did not help the defense at all. She hurt them, and I think that exact same thing will happen in the second trial. She just looks like a fool. So bring them on. Like, I can't wait because there's nothing that's going to change about her looking like a fool and saying things that don't make sense. So I say, let her talk. But I do know that most judges would not have allowed her on as an expert, not in the first trial and certainly not in the second one. Like, crime talk. I'm going to have to check that one out. Somebody maybe send that to me. If you have like a link, send it to me on like Twitter, Facebook or something so I can check that out. Please. Yeah. Hi, Parson. Thank you. Yeah, it's real. It's very much real. Colonel Mustard in the library with a candlestick. Yes, exactly. And the lack of common sense is quite amazing, if you ask me. Like, literally amazing. Everybody has their coffee, right? In the good old morning time. I have mine. Yeah, real estate law is boring. It was like the only part of law that I was just like, oh my God, besides air rights. I really liked that, but that was intriguing. But other than that, I was like, oh, this is really annoying. Like, this is boring. I'm not into this. Like, that was the only part of law that I was just like, no, thank you. Was real estate law. Yes, a tainted jury is the only thing that can put it at risk. But you rest easy knowing that Hank will do his due diligence when it comes to making sure that these people are vetted the way they're supposed to be. Yeah, I know everything except the things I don't know. Good morning, darling. Oh my God, I feel so bad for his wife. Oh God, so bad. Like, so bad. We also remember that the jurors, they did not like Karen's facial expressions. They did not like her body language. They didn't like her facial. Like, they apparently noticed, just like the rest of us, and were kind of not, you know, happy with it, which you can't blame them. I mean, that woman, like, I know, you want to know why it disappears? Because I keep moving it back. I keep taking the comment down because it's blocking the whole bottom of my screen for some reason. Before they're supposed to be much smaller. I'm not understanding why they're so big right now. Because it's blocking like my face. I mean, hold on, let me try to. I think my chair is like all the way up though. Nope, see, that would be down. Yeah, it's all the way up. Yeah, it's like blocking. Let me turn this down a little bit. It's like blocking my face every time I put a comment up. That's why. I will try harder to keep them up for a little longer. Well, that's the thing. If you ever watch her on any of the interviews, it's all about her. Nothing is, I miss John, I miss his smile, I miss his presence. I think about him all the time. She has to say, I think about him in terms, and that's not somebody who loves you. They don't go, well, in terms of, I think about it. Like, what? Like, I'm sorry. Never once has she said, I loved John. Not once. Not once. Not freaking once. Not one single time. It's absurd. Ditto, Jack. Ditto. Unfortunately, I can't either. And it's like, come on, man. Have some fucking integrity. Stand up. Stand the fuck up. I get it, dude. You're going to lose money. It's the name of the game. If you don't say the popular thing, you're going to lose money. You're not going to get as many donations. They're not going to be coming in like this, like this, like this, like this, like this when you tell the truth. That's fucking life, dude. Is that worth your integrity of who you are, your morals, and the things that you stand for? I mean, maybe they just don't care. I can't speak for them. What I can speak to is being practicing attorneys, they absolutely know what they're saying is bullshit. They absolutely 100% fucking know. And that's sad. I have heard of Kratom, but I have not tried it. Tried freaking everything else. My doctors have tried everything else on planet Earth. The injections that don't work, the cortisone, you know. Well, yeah, to her fancy dinners and her fancy hotel suite, it goes to her, you know, unfortunately. Yeah, exactly. I like come last on the totem pole. Like, you know, anybody who's ever asked for my help, I have helped. Anybody who's come to me from free Karen Reed side who's needed my help, I have helped. And I always will. It's unfortunate that some people have to realize what it's all about over there when they get baselessly attacked. That's when they start to realize, like, oh shit, I might be in a cult and this, I didn't see it because I was in it. And now I am the victim of it. And I'm starting to realize, like, oh my God. Like, and so I try to keep that in the forefront that some of these people actually don't even realize. They're defending it because it's their cult, but they don't really actually. If you've ever read like the psychology of like why people are in cults and stuff, it's actually fascinating. Something I've been reading for years and looking into for years. Starting with like, obviously, if you've seen, you know, anything about the Manson case, something new is coming out, by the way, on Netflix. I think it's either the 7th or the 14th of February on the Manson cult. But if you ever looked into things like that and David Koresh, obviously the famous Kool-Aid, Jim Jones. But if you've found any of that like fascinating to why people get into these sort of cults, like a lot of the time you'll start to see like the psychology of it. There's papers written on it and stuff. And if you actually read them, you're kind of like, wow, that makes fucking sense. Like these people are looking for something to be a part of. They're looking for somewhere to fit in. And some of these people are very broken. Some of them are just lonely. Some of them think it's like a sense of a community. It's their sense of community until they're the victim of not falling in line in that community. And if you don't fall in line in that community, you will be punished. And when they are punished is when they realize, holy shit, what have I gotten myself into? I know, his poor wife. She's beautiful, though. His wife is beautiful. Yeah, I'm not sure that the judge would allow Bettero, by the way, on to Karen's team. I don't think she really can. It's too much of a conflict. It's so insane. There's no time to plant evidence. Okay, go to the timeline. You're planting. You'd have to plant it in front of the cert team. So, FYI, anybody this long in a conspiracy, somebody would have cracked by now. So they would have to also magically pick the snow up and put it underneath the snow. Because if you're putting something underneath the snow, there would be marks in the snow, you know, where they found it, and there wasn't. They had to dig. So they didn't bippity boppy it underneath the snow, right? Like, so like when people go through that timeline and they don't do their research or they don't like sit there and go, well, I don't know if I believe that because when you go down the timeline, there is actually no time for someone to plant it. The search team's already there. Like, that's where I have to be like, and you're supposed to be an attorney? Like, really? Come on, stop it. Like, stop it. Who are you trying to fool? Yourself? I think it's yourself at this point. Like, come on now. The Commonwealth, is she going through the Commonwealth answer to the motion to dismiss? What do you mean? I'm going to talk about it, yeah. He will. He's going to. He didn't get to that relevant I said that in the beginning of the show. He didn't get to that relevant motion that he was going to, because unless he ran out the clock talking about nothing. But this week you will see that. They will talk about it. Helena Rafferty did not go to the courthouse for her health or for funsies. That's what she went there for. Ugh, Vinny. Listen to me. If you're going to watch anyone on Court TV, please watch my friend Julie Grant, okay? Julie is the only one willing to speak truth on this case. She's the only one willing to not, she doesn't pander to the conspiracy. She will tell you there's no cover up, there's no conspiracy. So if you're going to watch someone on Court TV, Julie starts at 8 a.m. and she's on Court TV. She's a fantastic host, and she's also a fantastic person in person. So take my word for it. So if you're going to watch someone on Court TV, because I certainly can't watch Vinny with his BS, watch Julie. She's on in the morning, 8 a.m. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with you guys' comments. Hi, Rosewater. Yeah, they sure did. I have to reapply for monetization because they're such fun cult members. Yeah, it's pretty vile. It's pretty freaking vile. You know, pretty vile. You are tucked in your bed with me on the screen? Ooh, I feel special now. Got me feeling all special. I'm on the big screen. You know, there's a ton of people who watch on the TV. I always have to watch from my phone. I just feel like it's like easier to have it right there, but I should watch it on my TV. It's 65 inches. It should be. It's right there, you know. I mounted mine on the wall. I've missed you guys. I missed you guys so much. I said this the other day when I streamed the Tuesday's hearing. I missed you guys so much, like so much. I think they just don't care too. I think they just don't care. Make no mistake, Peggy and Paul are rock stars, you know, rock stars, absolute rock stars. Well, that's what has happened. It's their personality. It's their life. Yes, I read it. Thank you. I know I'm behind on the comments. My bad. My bad. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. You know what? They paid for my coffee this morning, so thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you, always. Bread, yes, Parson. Breadstick money. Like my breadstick money. You know what I'm saying? Yes, teepee money, breadstick money. Stacks on stacks on stacks. Well, it covered my coffee this morning, so how about that? And you guys know I have to have my coffee. Like, it's not like optional. Like, when I don't have the money to buy bees, which are like my weekend treats to myself, I have my Keurig, man, and I buy the K-cups from Mary Lou's, and I put I make the coffee and I put it in the fridge, and then I put the mocha in the fridge, and I just make sure that I have whipped cream on hand, and I make it at home. I appreciate all you guys' insight, all you guys' questions. Like, you guys always have freaking awesome points and awesome questions to bring up. I love it. Yeah, he does. Well, that's the thing. They have to, the prosecutors are supposed to have the families. They have, like, they're supposed to have a room that they can go into when they first get to the courthouse. They can choose whether they want to or not, but a room that they can go into until the courtroom is open, and then afterwards as well. That's their choice whether they use it or not, but they are supposed to be given that as an option, you know. Yes, I will. I'm sorry. It was like covering my face, so I felt weird with it just sitting on the screen. So I will try to keep them up a little longer for you guys. My bad. My bad. I know. My brain's not usually either, but I've been awake since 6, which is the normal time I usually wake up. So, hey, that's okay. You can play catch up. Sad, because I actually, listened to him before this case and thought he was kind of like decent, not decent as in like just decent as like reading people's comments and now and like trying to cover points. He lost all that when it came to this case. Boundless is amazing. I absolutely love Matt. He is hilarious. I would be more than happy to have him on anytime. He knows that. I have not ever done a show with Kevin before, but Matt is hilarious. I absolutely love him. I adore him. That would be a good show, though. You are correct. Make it happen, Captain. Make it happen, Captain. He is. He is absolutely freaking hilarious. I absolutely adore him. Exactly. Thank you. And this would be normal for people to think. What Jolie here, Jolie is saying is initially she saw the story and thought it might be corruption, but once she started looking at the facts and evidence, it was clear she was wasted and backed into him. So like that's a normal thing, right? Like at first you're like, okay, maybe this could have happened, right? Like without the evidence. Like this is before any evidence comes out, right? Before. And you're like, maybe this did happen, right? Like at that point, the things that were being said were plausible. There were some sketchy things, and you're like, okay, whatever. Like it's a little sketchy. That definitely could have been a conspiracy or a cover up. But then the evidence. After that evidence came out, you just can't keep going with a conspiracy. It's not there. The evidence isn't there. It doesn't exist. As a matter of fact, all the evidence they have is very bad against Karen. I'm sorry, my nose has been running since yesterday. Literally, I think I'm getting one of those stomach bugs, and I'm like, please don't let my kids get it because that's the last thing I need is them home from school because they're sick again. We all had the flu already. I do not want it again. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, he does. Oh, I'm sure he is just as much as Lally was disgusted, you know? Yeah, but what about? Yeah, that's all they did. But what about this and what about that and what about butt dials? Those don't matter. Like, AKA, by the way, butt dials doesn't always mean the phone hit your butt because I love when people just assume. It means it could have been in your purse and it called. It could have been in your pocket and called. Like, do you know how many times I have literally with my phone closed like this and locked? How many times I have Facebook message butt dialed a group chat? Or a family member or a friend. A freaking million, literally. Like, what does butt dials have anything to do with anything? If the phone call didn't connect for an amount of seconds where it connected and they talked, why does it matter? Like, who gives a shit? No, the dog didn't bark. The wind, first of all, was howling. People were like, why didn't I put a tent up? Why didn't I put it? With the tent, back to the tent again. They didn't put the tent up because it would have blown away. It was a fucking blizzard, dude. Okay? It would not have stayed there. That is why they did not erect a tent. That's why you wouldn't erect a tent in a snowstorm because it wouldn't make a fucking difference. Like, come on, man. Like, yeah, me too. It's sad. Sad for Vinny. Sad. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure their social media will be checked this time, you know? Yeah. Yes, you did. You came here, which we love you for, of course. Hey, Jimbo. Yeah, gag order. I don't see that happening. I think that should have happened a long time ago, but I don't see it happening, you know? Ooh, Denmark. It's only 12 noon here. Yeah, he cuts them off. He cuts them off though. Once they get to a good point he doesn't like, he cuts them off. They don't get to speak. So it's like, what's the point? Like of even having them on if that's what you're gonna do. Yeah, the argument. It's arguing about absolutely nothing because you're arguing with yourself, like to the judge, like, but your honor, blah 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 blah, blah. And the Commonwealth, the Commonwealth, the Commonwealth, the Commonwealth. That's all they do, point fingers. Funny part about it is like all of the stuff they point fingers at the Commonwealth for either can be debunked or are like actual real life, like they didn't have it at that time. As soon as they got it, they gave it to you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to go over the motion to dismiss in a minute because I think it's utterly ridiculous and also laughable and hilarious at this point. Now, this is her fourth try. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth try of having the case. She's trying to have it dismissed. Okay. Make no mistake, it will not be dismissed. She has 0% chance of this being dismissed. So basically, all it is fodder for the cannon. That's it. Feed it to the troops. Like, that's literally it. Like, I don't, because, and this is a good point, Jennifer. She said, does anyone know who Brennan was talking to at the end of court the other day when he said, you can laugh? Who laughed? Because Brennan went, oh, you can, he said, I take no pleasure in criticizing another attorney. I take no pleasure. I'm not trying to down another attorney. And I don't know who it was because the camera did not pan over, whether it was Jackson or Karen or Yannetti or Little or Alessi. I have no clue which one of them it was, but one of them laughed. One of them thought it was funny. So, of course, then he said, well, you know, what, you can laugh, but like, what's so freaking funny? Like, like basically he's like, you can laugh, but it's the truth. So like laughing isn't going to help you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like not a thing, like not even a little, like insane to me, like absolutely insane. So it's like one of them thought it was funny. Like one of them thought it was extremely funny that he was saying that. And it's like, you could tell he wasn't just being a jerk. He wasn't just being like, I take pleasure in this. Like, no, the profession in general, he respects. Like, he's not saying it to be a jerk. He's doing his job. And so whichever one of them found it funny, I'm sure the judge did not appreciate it. That was another thing. Like, do that in front of the judge. It's like not smart. Like, not smart at all. Like, not even a little. Like, sorry. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm just checking a message. Someone's trying to tell me something and they're trying to call me and they can't because I'm not is Boundless on right now? Or is he going on later and that was just a thing for later? Either way, I don't want to miss what someone's trying to tell me. Yeah, it aggravates my life, that's for sure. Hey, B Tim! I did send you a link this morning just because we have not got to hear your wisdom, B Tim, on this in person lately. At least I haven't. We miss B Tim. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up still. Oh, I don't think they're the most boring people. I just think it wasn't, that part of law was like not fun for me. It was just like, meh. For me, I was just kind of like, all right, this is not what I want. Yeah, usually the judges do. I don't think she wanted to interrupt Hank because how many goddamn times has poor Hank been interrupted and not gotten enough time to speak? So I think she just didn't want to interrupt, Hank while he was doing his thing. I think that's why she didn't say anything. Yeah. I know, right? Everything we said, everything while we covered the trial, everything we said, B. Tim's right. He covered it with me as well. And it's like, we said this. We said this was not going to be good. The jury was not going to like it. Like, again, we were right. Like, I hate to say I told you so on a lot of the stuff, but like, hey, we told you so. Like, we freaking told you so. Yeah, I remember that. Remember when she got mad at Karen Reed? This is funny, Miss Reed. This is funny. Like, yeah, she does. Victim blames. It's hard to watch. It's really hard to watch, but I have to because she changes her story a million times. Like, March 15th is the documentary they're doing on ID. Oh, okay. Yeah, she makes me sick too, but I have to because I cover the case. So it's like, unfortunately, I have to have the information. I have to be in the know and I have to watch it myself in order to be in the know. I don't want to trust somebody else's interpretation of what they saw. I want to see it myself, unfortunately. I also think my brain works differently than some people's. Like I want, if it's something I can visually watch and see, I want to watch everything. I want to watch the body language. I want to watch the facial expressions. I want to watch if she turns and looks at Alan Jackson for him to answer it because she doesn't know what to say. Like I want to see it all. Yeah, it's a pay attention to me thing. Like, well, there's no such thing as innocent. It's either guilty or not guilty. And not guilty doesn't mean you didn't do it. It just means they didn't have the evidence to convince a jury you didn't do it. You know? Yeah, he's an ass kisser because every 5 seconds he's probably reading off a donation. $10 from this person, $20 from this person, $50. That's why. It's not rocket science on why they're doing it. It's just gross. Like, just have some fucking self-respect, dude. Like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. You won't ever hear her say she loves John. It just, like, I'm sorry, but I let you guys in on a little secret a very long time ago when I was much, much younger, way back in the early 2000s. I lost my fiance in a house fire. He got out of that house. He went back in because this is who he was for the people who were still inside to try to save their lives. And him and one other person did not make it up. Okay. There was never a minute that I talked about him to this day. Okay. That I don't say how much I loved him. My husband has gone to the cemetery with me so that I can get out and say I love you and I miss you. Like, there is never a minute that I sat there and talked about him with anyone that I didn't say I loved that man so much and I miss him like crazy. So it's amazing to me to sit there in all these interviews and not one time does she say, but I love John and I loved John. Not once, not one goddamn time. It's, well, he did this or, well, he did that. Like, you're blaming the person who is no longer with us. Why? Because they can't defend themselves, right? Easy to do when someone can't defend themselves. It's gross behavior. Like, it's disgusting to me. It really, really is. And it's hard, so freaking hard to watch that crap. Like, it gets me. It really does. Like, yes, you move on with your life, but you never stop thinking about something horrific like that. Like, you just don't. You really just don't. Yeah, Russell is the dog bite lady. Welcome from Scotland. Welcome. Ugh, gross. That's why his name is Sewer Turtle here. That is his name here, is Sewer Turtle. That's what we call him over here because he lurks in the sewer like a creep with the shit. Just waiting in it, waiting in the shit. It's sad though. The time of your lives harassing other people. Like, come on. It's gross. Like, have a disagreement. Cool. You don't have to agree with people, but like they go 10 steps further than that. Like, I know I've thought about that too, but I also think there's other ways that he can do the openings without having to open right away with the voicemails. I mean, I think he needs to show some visuals. You need to show the jury some visuals. You just have to. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I said this in the first trial. There needed to be some sort of visual for that. Like, there has to be. Like, the jury has to be able to see it and picture it in their mind. Like, yeah, that and whatever Josh Levy, because he's got some splaining to do, whatever he decided to do to help out Karen, that is indefensible what he did. Indefensible. There is absolutely no freaking defending that whatsoever. Like, no, they don't listen to reason. But what about this? But what about that? You're exactly right, Anastasia. But what about this? And the funny part about it is, like, when they start doing the what about this, the what about that, a lot of the stuff is completely irrelevant. Like, it's not anything that A, is either going to be brought into a trial, or C, that even matters, right? So what about the butt dials? What about the inverted video is my favorite. The inverted video. Okay. I don't want to say the word stupid. I don't like to call people stupid, but you have to be completely and utterly fucking stupid if you think that the inverted video flipped the other way around, that you would be able to magically see that taillight. You can't. An inverted video is the exact same as the copy of the video that isn't inverted, okay? So if you couldn't see the taillight in the inverted video, you can't see it when it's not inverted. If I download my videos to put them on another screen, another like site, right? There is a box I have to check off to unmirror the image, because I can stream with it mirrored or not mirrored. So when I go to download it and put it somewhere else, there's a little box that I have to check off to not mirror it, to not invert the video, okay? And I don't always do it. It's a little box, sometimes you forget it's even there, okay? It changes nothing that happened in my video. Nothing that I said changes, no angles that you can see or can't see changes. Literally none of it changes. None of it. Not a goddamn thing changes. Nothing. It's nuts. Like, to think that they would think that. Like, absolutely nutty. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I want to get my phone charger. My phone is dying because I didn't charge it last night. That's my bad. But for anybody who seems to magically think that an inverted video is altered, as a matter of fact, if they flipped it and they clicked that little button that says to not invert it, to uninvert it, that might be technically altering it, if you want to say what it is, depending on how it was recorded, okay? So that's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, come on now. Like, no, they don't. Want to know why they don't talk about John's shoe? Because John's shoe is a very important thing. Normally, you don't, like, get a shoe that fell off randomly. Pedestrian accidents have a high rate of people losing their shoes. A high rate of people. I'm like 15 minutes behind in these. The new tech stream data. Well, I think there's a lot of it. There's a lot of data. They pulled a lot of data out of that car when they did the chip on, chip off again. So I think we're gonna see a lot of more information when it comes to the trial, when it comes to that car. I know that in the past with certain vehicles, you can see down to what they're listening to on the radio. So if she really played U2, it'll be on there. If her car shows that kind of data, it'll show how much the person weighs that's sitting in the chair. It would show seconds before, seconds after an accident. Some of it shows the GPS coordinates of exactly where you were and when. It just depends on how much they were able to get. I do know that it was a lot that they got, but I'm not really sure what specific information they got. I just know that it was quite a bit. There is a donation here from Ashley, $10. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate you. You're a rock star. You're the kryptonite. You're the Sewer Turtles kryptonite, and we all appreciate you for that, because he deserves so much more than just somebody having to debunk the lies, you know? I will pull up that Reddit thing in a second. Yes, Julie Grant's amazing. Amazing! She's awesome. You should watch her. Oh, the rug? Yeah, okay. She doesn't have it. Okay, let me just debunk this real quick. Karen would never be allowed to have it tested and use it at trial because it was not handled by the police. It was not taken into evidence. There's no chain of custody. Nobody knows where it went, what it did. Like, and also this whole, I don't have enough money. I call BS on that, and so does pretty much everybody on planet Earth. So she can claim to have a rug all she wants, but I'll tell you right now, she doesn't. And I think what she did was take rug from when the house was getting done over, but like after they moved out for like the new people, maybe, and is storing that. I don't know why you would do that. There's nothing there. The feds went into that house. They found nothing. Just FYI. Like I tried to tell you guys this a long time ago. Nobody listens. They went into the house. Okay. They found nothing. They did luminol. They found nothing. There's no blood anywhere in that house. Oh, hey, bestie. Look at your little wrench. You got a little wrench. Oh, you have a little wrench over here. I'm 15 minutes behind in the comments. I'm sorry. Speaking of which, if you have not, thank you for the reminder for just being here. You reminded me. If you have not, please support Lindsay and her fundraiser, please, because what people don't realize is she has to now fight a defamation lawsuit from her abuser, and if he succeeds in that because she doesn't have the money to get an attorney, well, guess what happens? Then he's going to go after more people and think that he can get away with it until the end of time. So please, please, her fundraiser is on my Twitter. It should be pinned. I know it's a long thing, so when I wrote it, you have to like hit the read all button, and it's there. It's pinned. Well, he's a dumbass. He didn't realize he was introducing people to people who are gonna, buy his. Realize he's a piece of, I love you, Anna. Yeah, the toupee. Got the rotary, rotary. He's got this bald spot right here, the rotary. Oh, hey, girls and boys. Riley's in her room on her tablet playing Roblox. She's very serious playing Roblox right now. Probably does sleep upside down in the closet and continues to talk to himself until the end of time. Legit. Like, I think he talked to himself for another 5 hours out loud when he left the courthouse. Like, for real. Yeah, I don't think she's got that carpet. Sorry. It is nice to see you, Rose. Many people I've done. I mean, I've had Erin on my show. Lindsay's been on my show. Voices, Bree, Kathy, B, Tim. There's a list. We got a list of people who have been on my show. Boundless is amazing. He's so funny. I absolutely, yep, heels until she passed away. God rest her soul. We miss her. Yeah, exactly. And what reason would they have to kill John? Just for funsies? Yeah, I know. Like, dude, who would be laughing? Like, that's not even funny. Like, so ridiculous. I pocket mod. Yeah, it happens. It happens. See? Exactly. It happens to me all the time. No, they can't. And I forget who it was. It was one of you guys when I explained the search and how it's not a search and how a DB wall file works. I explained it here, and somebody said to me, this is the first time I actually understood what someone was talking about when they were explaining that. You explained it perfectly, and it clicked. And I was like, well, thank you. Like, but I don't, it's not a complicated thing. The timestamp isn't when anyone did a search. It's when that tab was either opened or moved into the background. It's that simple. Like, I have like 10 tabs open on my phone right now. Some of them have been there for like a month, maybe more. And I will just open the tab, type what I want to type, and then put the tab back away in the background of my phone. So like, that's the timestamp of when they were looking at something or reading something, or put it down or put it up, but not when they search. There is no timestamp for that, their Google search. It is way later at 6. That timestamp from the DB wall file is from when that was either put down or up, when that tab was put down or up. It's not rocket science. It's that simple. It's literally that simple. Oh, they didn't claim the 5th, right? So I used to love that because I knew nobody was claiming the 5th. They were all going to testify. So like, when he said, I would just literally laugh and giggle like I do now when he says dumb things like the federal investigation isn't over and he confirmed from sources. No, he didn't. He knows damn well that it's over. He didn't confirm from any sources other than Karen claiming that it didn't. And that's because this time the U.S. Attorney's Office didn't call Karen and say, we're going to help you, Karen, this time, because Levy's not there anymore. They didn't give her a courtesy of a phone call. Why? Because they did it the proper way, which is to call law enforcement and to call the grand jury witnesses to tell them it's over, not to call her. She doesn't get a phone call. That's not how it works. like, come on now. Nobody pled the 5th. They told their story numerous times, as numerous witnesses, grand jury and the regular. Like, come on. Yeah, it had to have been someone close, I think, to him. It was one of the two of them who laughed. What's funny about like her little smirks and smacks is like, stop it. Like, stop it right now. They were. That's another thing. Basically, and I expected to hear from either Jackson or Yannetti. The fact that they didn't speak for themselves should speak volumes. Any attorney would want, if it was actually a mistake, they would want to get up there and explain to the judge why it was. They stayed silent and they had Alessi speak for them. That speaks volumes. When they left, in the first time that I can remember, there was no comment. Hello, McFly, wake up. Like, it's not rocket science, people. It is not. Like, to figure out why those things are happening. Helena Rafferty did not show up there for funsies, okay? Oh my God, can you imagine? Breathalyzer before she comes in. You been drinking, Miss Reed? Yeah. Yeah, she has. All right, let me see. Let me see this article that Ashley sent me. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Okay, it says, has the free Karen Reed movement been wrong all along? This is what it says. Let me take your comment down so I can read it, okay? It says, oh, that one too. Hold on. Sorry. By the way, if you do want to donate, this is how you can do it. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. I will appreciate you. Thank you. I love you guys in your faces. I'm going to read this. All right. Okay. The swamp blogger. Yeah, we call him the sewer turtle over here. And a lot of people call him a turd boy. Okay. I was a former faithful supporter of Free Karen Reed, brought into this case by this. I'm a sewer turtle because it doesn't say that, but I'm gonna read it that way. The one thing that made me change my mind was all of the misinformation that Sewer Turtle has claimed and proven to be false. If it was misinformation one time, sure, because it happens. But it was so many things that I trusted that ended up coming up as false over and over. For instance, Karen Reed said she broke her taillight on John's car, but her own expert said it was not possible. Yeah, not at that speed. And also the bumper, like the height of the car. Anyway. Also, when Sewer Turtle said to hate someone, I did, and felt that hate unconditionally towards the person he said to hate. I didn't have a reason to hate that person, but I felt obligated to hate that person based upon what Sewer Turtle reported. That information he reported wound up being false also. Once I realized we were being taken advantage of by a group of bloggers, things started clicking in my mind that none of the things Sewer Turtle, the Glare, or others were saying were true, and I was hating people for no legitimate reasons. Why do Free Karen Reed members refuse to listen to any facts? Just a blogger known to griff off viewers while clearly lying to them based upon proven facts. First, Sewer Turtle says it's a conspiracy. The police did it. Colin did it. A few members in the House did it. The ME and hospital were involved. The DA is involved. The court is involved. Lally's involved. Brennan is involved. The judge is involved. And now the FBI, who did a thorough investigation and dug through everyone's personal information and lives, came out and said there was no conspiracy. Now the feds are involved. Karen Reed actually had a conversation with an online talk show and said Colin had nothing to do with this because he wasn't there. The Colin conspiracy went away right after the first trial. People need to remember Karen Reed is the one who asked the feds to investigate, and the feds found nothing. Who is going to be next? The jury? The fact that this conspiracy has always been a lie, and this conspiracy keeps growing, and more people are being accused every day, should say a lot about the conspiracy. The people reporting on it, especially Sewer Turtle, has been nothing but a grifter who keeps repeating donate and checking the donations during their live shows repeatedly, which goes to show how important the story doesn't matter and the only concern is the donations. I will give one credence to that, which is any creator is going to check donations and talk about donations during the show. Like, it's part of how we survive, by how we're able to do the shows. Although he is excessive because people excessively donate because they listen to his BS. It says people on the Free Karen Reed side also attack Judge Beverly for her treatment towards the defense, but fail to see that Judge Beverly has given so much to the defense that they probably didn't deserve, including Rule 14 violations and allowing witnesses in last minute during trial, and has been very strict on Lally and the Commonwealth. Even Alessi said Judge Beverly was and had been fair, and that's not what the Sewer Turtle or other bloggers have reported. In the end, Karen Read deserves a fair trial. By the defense doing what has been done here was by no means fair to the prosecution. It was dishonest. It was covered up, as Free Karen Read likes to say, and the ARCA witness was willing to keep the information from them, meaning the prosecution, leading me to believe ARCA was a paid witness willing to lie. Free Karen Read, if you read this to the end, knowing what you know now, wouldn't it be possible to understand that you've been lied to all along for donations and to help spread misinformation? There's no shame in admitting you've been duped, but continuing on with a lie makes you complicit. Whoever wrote this, I mean, this is on Reddit. Whoever wrote this, like, it's Turtle Boy Exposed. It was written 3 days ago. Whoever wrote this, like, I applaud you. Because it's everything I've been saying since 2023. Everything I've been saying since 2023. That's literally what that says. Everything that I've been saying since 2023. And it's like, wake up and smell the roses, people. Been trying to, like, I genuinely, and I said this to someone this morning, I genuinely feel bad. I genuinely feel bad for some of these people who are hating people, who are like saying awful things. And I have it happen to me every single day. Make no mistake, every single day I get a text message, a phone call, an email, a DM, tagged in comments of things that aren't true about myself or my family. Every single day of my life. Aren't you tired of that? Especially if it's a lie that you have been spreading about someone you don't even know and have never met. Anybody who has met me in person, who actually has like a relationship with me, who knows me as like a human in person, knows what kind of person I am. And it's the opposite of what like they claim. I'll help anybody with the shirt off my own back, dude. That's just who I am. It's what I've been doing for a long time. Like, I get joy out of helping people. It makes me feel like I'm doing something right in the world. I am putting good karma in my karma bank for the world. If you put bad karma in, you get bad karma back. You put good karma in, you get good karma back. It's not rocket science, right? Like, and I choose to put good karma in. I'm not going to read the name, but I do have another one that just popped up on Venmo, $10, and it says, for today's show, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. It, to me, it's not rocket science, right? Like, it's not hard to do the right thing. Okay. It's just not. It's just not hard. I just don't understand why it's so hard for people to do the right thing here. People are being hurt because people aren't doing the right thing and saying the truth instead of what they want to pander to, what they want the cult to hear, because the cult's the one who pays their bills. So, like, you know, they gotta pander to I will pander to no one. You don't like my opinion, this isn't a place for you. Okay. I don't make a ton of money over here for telling truth. I never will. It's not why I'm here. Does it help? Sure. Of course it does. Nobody can deny that. When you're a creator, the whole point is to be able to make sure you can cover costs and make a little money while you're doing it, because you don't want to be wasting time either, right? But the truth is important, especially when it's hurting people. And if you don't have the integrity to tell the truth when you know it to be true, if you don't have the integrity to realize you have been lied to numerous times and things that he has claimed that he got straight from Karen Read are completely and utterly false. You don't think to yourself, maybe the things he says about other people are false. Maybe he just attacks people because he's afraid of what they're going to say about him, afraid of what they know, afraid of what they know. Because I can promise you, it's exactly why he attacks some people, because he's afraid of what they can say about him. So he attacks first to try to make it so that that person's not credible. He can just say that they're this person, they're crazy, they're a grifter, they're a scammer, they're all these things, they're bad. So you don't listen to them. They're just lying. When in reality, it's literally every time he accuses someone of something, it's something he is currently doing or has done to someone else. The amount of projection is, I've never seen anything like it in my life. Never. And I've worked in mental health for the criminally insane. Okay. Worked in a prison for the criminally insane. And I've never seen somebody do what he does that way. It's insane to me. Absolutely insane. Oh, I have a PayPal. Thank you, Eva. Another $10 from Eva. She said, thank you for your insights. I appreciate you, girl. I appreciate you. Oh, no, I did not notice that. The dog might have. The dog drove the SUV. Hey, sailboat. Where have you been? Where have you been? I miss your funnies. Where have you been? Yes, thank you, freak. You know, you're my tech guy. This is my tech guy. This is my very intelligent tech friend that does all the tech that I don't know. It's my tech dude. My friend and my tech dude. Yes, a lot of them are inverted by default. Mine's mirrored by default. Uh-oh, you got to make another one? Oh, it happens, Ellen, it happens. Yeah, that conspiracy theory. Yeah, apparently he's off the hook now, you know? He, Sewer Turtle says he didn't do it. He's been saying he did it for a year and a half, 2 years, but now he didn't. It wasn't him. It was the other guy. Even though the CERT team's still on site, so he could they realized that the timeline didn't match up, and Proctor couldn't have planned anything but the CERT team there. So now they need someone else, right? That's the. And come on, wake up, cult, wake up. Well, they will be. A lot of them will, as long as they can get the unedited versions of them, because she's changed her story too many times. Apparently her attorneys, because she can't be controlled, she doesn't shut the F up. It's the first thing you should do when you're a defendant is shut the fuck up. Especially in a murder. I can see in other things not, but in a murder, shut the fuck up. Keep your right to remain silent. You're not helping yourself, dude. Yes, it would. The tech data would show, and if they got the actual coordinates, that's gonna fuck her if they got the actual coordinates. Ooh, let's move on to this motion to dismiss because I really want to cover this because it's so funny to me. Lindsay's fun should be on my Twitter. It should be pinned at the top of my Twitter. Should be the very first thing on my Twitter. You'll see it, I wrote a bunch of things. You'll have to hit read all to get, and the link should be under there at the bottom. Oh, Lindsay put it in the chat. It's in the chat. Yeah, we miss heels. Oh, I wanted to show that too. Hey, Maestro, any chance you can email that to me, because I don't know why, but my computer won't let me sign into my Twitter from my computer, and it's on my phone, and I can't get it from my phone to the computer. But if you email it to me, I can pull it up from my email, because I really want to show them your Maestro made an amazing 3D model of exactly what it looked like when Karen hit John and how he ended up where he was. And I think you guys should watch it because it was done amazingly. Oh, that's sad. Yeah, I was streaming with her when it happened. It was very, very sad. We started streaming the trial together. It was awful. It was awful because it literally happened as we were streaming. So that was hard for us. That was really hard. I put things up and put them down. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's the other thing that Karen asked the exact same thing to the EMT. So it's any normal person would go, obviously she did ask Jen to Google that. It's not, ooh, self-frying bacon. That would be amazing. Hey, Frank. I'm hungry too, girl. Me too. I'm still behind in the comments. I'm sorry. I'm still at 12:45, so I'm still almost 10 minutes behind. I am amazed about that too. Usually they give that to pretty much anyone who has anything to do with alcohol or drugs. You automatically get testing, automatically. The judge almost always gives it. So it's amazing to me that she didn't get that. Yeah, that was a pretty good article that I just read. That was amazing. It was on Reddit under Massachusetts. So it's / Massachusetts. It was 3 days ago on Reddit. Yeah, everyone's involved. It's a 500-person conspiracy at this point. Everyone, dude. What do you mean? They added me to the conspiracy over a year and a half ago, guys. I'm part of the conspiracy. You didn't know? I am in on it. Damn, I'm a smart criminal, huh? Jeez. Yeah, exactly. Either everyone is in on it and lied, or I don't know, Karen did it. I don't know. Could have been the Pope. The Pope. The Pope. You know, this is what pisses me off. They're ruining my favorite color. I will not let them ruin pink for me, okay? It's my favorite color, all right? All my plugs in my house are pink. I bought these too. I haven't put them up yet, but I bought the ones for the lights too, and they're pink and blingy. Pink is my favorite color, and she's ruining pink for me. Ruining it. Okay? My chair is pink. It is my favorite color. Like, I can't. It's making me so mad. Ruining my favorite color. How dare she? Well, that's also the thing. He skips reading comments like in his comment section so that you have to donate so that someone will read it. Like, that's annoying as fuck. Like, he purposely ignores you a million times until you donate so that he'll read it. He also apparently told people that $5, it has to be at least $5 or more, or it's not worth it, and he won't read it. Like, I'm sorry, what? That is the most ungrateful, ignorant thing I have ever heard in my entire life. Like, what the hell? Like what the, like, the shit part about it is when you're a smaller creator, you kind of have to be overbearing about it because some people don't like read the thing that scrolls. They actually want you to like tell them it, or like I've had people tell me like I need you to remind me like again, like, so I'll literally get a text like, oh hey, remind everybody because then it'll like make me think to go do it. So like when you're tiny like me, you're a tiny channel, like you kind of almost have to be overbearing because it's the only way to remind people like that, you know, this is how you do it. Not everybody wants to read it on, or sometimes they have it in their pocket. So like if you say it out loud, it sort of reminds them to do it if they want to. And it's like you're a smaller channel. When you're bigger, like when you're at where he's at now, there is no reason to keep saying it. Like there isn't. It's at the bottom. People know how to do it. People have been watching him long enough to know how to do it. Like if you have, you know, 8,000 people in there, they know he's got a thing pinned to his chat that says right at the top. So anybody in that chat can see it right at the top. So it's like he doesn't need to do it 50 times. You're big enough where you don't need to do it 50 times. The people who need to do it 50 times are the people who are teeny tiny, the smaller channels, because that's how they grow. That's how they like. Unfortunately, YouTube has made it that way because what YouTube pays when you are monetized is almost nothing. And what they take is like 50 to 60% of anything you get, which is absurd. But that's the way YouTube works. So, like, you know, they don't set it up well for smaller creators to grow. They don't. They make it really hard on us. Like, I do think that some people will eventually wake up and the mirror will crack and they will realize they were misled. I just, it's sad that so many people are misled for so long and some of them are in so deep. I think even admitting to themselves that they have been duped is going to be the impossible task, literally. Well, he wants to be the article. That's why, because he knows that everything that has to do with this case has to do with his reputation. And once people realize that the feds found nothing, they're not coming, and that 1,700 things he said were all lies, it's going to start falling apart. When we get closer to his trial and all of the truth comes out that he's been lying to people about for this long, he knows it's all going to fall apart. So it's about one more dollar, one more show, one more grift, as many as he can possibly get now, because he knows later on it's over. It's done. Like, so I mean, realistically, that's what he's doing. Like, yes, it is, Sailboat. Bingo. And you hit the nail on the head. It is. It's the unmitigated hatred for strangers that makes them so dangerous. It is. You hate people you don't even know. You've never met a day in your life. And as a matter of fact, the people that you hate are actually good people. Some of these people are awesome friends and like, dude, listen, anybody who's like a friend of mine knows that they can call me at any time. 3 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, it doesn't matter. Like I'm either gonna call you back as soon as I can, or I'm gonna answer. I'm always going to be there for the people that I care about. Always. Always, always, always. I will always answer. And they know that. Like, so it's like you're hating people that you don't even know that could be a good person in your life, like a light in your life, like the support you need, whether it's a shoulder to lean on to talk to or someone like you are literally hating people you don't know for no reason other than he told you to. How insane does that sound? Like what? Oh, does he get all like pissy now if he doesn't like get like donations? Like, bro, I made like a whopping $40 during this stream and nobody's complaining. Like the fact that he would complain that like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, they're not coming in fast enough. I made $800 tonight, but it's not fast enough for me. Like, the lack of self-awareness is amazing to me. Thank you for whatever you did get. Like, thank you for whatever you did get and appreciate it. Appreciate the people that took it out of their pocket to give it to you because they didn't have to. They did not have to. They could have watched you for free and just kept watching. They don't have to. They do it because they appreciate you, or it's their way of showing that they appreciate what you're doing or saying. So for you to not like take that and say like, well, $5 is, if it's got to be $5 or more, I'm not reading it. It's not enough. What? Or get mad because there's not enough. Like, I'm sorry, what? That is the most selfish. But again, we're talking about someone who's a malignant narcissist. So like, I don't know why. It's like he tells the same story 17 times and it changes every single time. He changes something in it every time. Why? Because he can't remember which lie he told, right? So now he has to keep telling it over and over, but in the parts that he knows, he has to omit the parts that he doesn't want you to know about, and the lies that he's already told. He has to try to keep up with those lies. The problem is he can't remember what lie he told to who. So it changes a little every time. And he'll contradict himself all the time, sometimes in the next sentence. And yet people still don't pick up on it. I'm like, this is amazing to me. Like the psychology behind this is amazing. Like, it's just like they have constant blinders on, like constant. Like, you're doing yourself a favor. I haven't watched him in over since 2023, so I refuse to. I have brave people that do it for me because I cannot do it without wanting to smash the screen because it's constant lies, just constant. I know. And you're a freak, so like, what the hell, man? Like, yeah, that was written pretty good. So whoever wrote that, like, you know, kudos to whoever wrote that. Like, kudos, seriously, because it's literally what I've been saying for I don't even know how long. Like, it was written exactly the way it should have been. Like, oh, that's all right. You are excused. You know, it'll always happen. Unfortunately, it's constant. It's constant. Yeah, he is. Thank you, Maestro. He is going to have a lot more to worry about than that. That's for damn sure. Yeah, she doesn't have anything to lose now. Now it's, you know, like you just said, no holes barred. Like, there's nothing to lose at this point. Literally. Like, it's all in. She's all in. Like, oh, dude, don't even bother. At this point, I don't even defend myself when he says shit because it's like laughable to me. Like, and anyone who knows me personally, who's in my daily life, who I talk to daily, like, it's laughable at this point. So I don't need to defend. I am not going to defend myself against a toddler throwing a temper tantrum. And that's exactly what he is, a toddler throwing a damn temper tantrum. Like, that's, I mean, I said this in 2023 and I'll say it again. I am not going to sit there and defend a temper tantrum as someone who consistently lies because they're mad. They're mad either you're more intelligent than them, you expose them, like they're just mad. Like, time to grow the F up, dude. Like, time to grow up. I don't think he knows how. That's part of the problem. Like, you know, he doesn't know how to grow up. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. Like, sorry, my friend is asking me if I went live. I'm live now. Now I'm live. And I am still, yeah, we can all pray for that, Ashley. For real though, we can all pray for that. I think we all need to pray for that. It's just insane to me that like this is the kind like of crap that like people don't see past, and it's not hard to realize that like you've been lied to after like the things that you have been told for so long like are being shown to be false. So it's like, look, dude, look at the actual evidence that says this is not true. Realize that you were lied to. Like, And it's like they just don't want to look at that. It's not something that they choose to want to look at, that they have been lied to this entire time. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Oh, I didn't even know that one was a thing. I'm gonna have to check that one out for you. You can fall over when I entered my own Discord the other day. I only downloaded it on my phone. Hi, Jane. I know, they're ruining my favorite color. They're ruining it for me. You know what's funny is they always complain about why the dog didn't bark. My daughter has 3 service animals. One is a German Shepherd. And funny enough, he does not bark at every single thing, especially at night when he's sleeping. He's just sleeping. Unless someone is knocking at the door, maybe then he might bark, but he is not going to bark for noise outside. Like, especially because where they live is a city, it's always noise outside. So the dog is like used to, like, cars or people. Like, the dog isn't going to bark. Like, there's a street right outside the window. So it's like the dog isn't just going to bark for anything, like, especially when they have a routine. Like, there's a routine. So the dog didn't bark because the dog didn't need to bark. Dog was asleep. Like, some dogs are like that too. They are nervous, like there's ones that I had a friend who had one that was abused, and that dog was nervous over everything. It took that dog like a month of seeing me every day to come near me. And now Coco jumps right up on me, and she's a beautiful dog. She jumps right up on me, and she has got no problem coming right next to me. But still to this day, she's other people, she starts like immediately shaking. She's a rescue. Like, she's afraid, Poor thing. Now I'm only 5 minutes behind on the comments. I'm almost there. That's the problem, though. Believing the BS, right? Believing the nonsense, the absolute nonsense that he spews. It's insane to me. Like, no. Chloe was never a police dog. Never. Just a regular German Shepherd. That's the other thing. This is a regular dog. Regular. Not a, retired police animal, nothing like that. Let me see if I can get this thing up here to show you guys. Hold on. Damn it. Can't see it. All right, this motion to dismiss here. This is so funny to me. Like, I find it funny. Like, let me get it up here. Or is my computer going to be a pain? Okay. Let me see. Oh, for fuck's sake, dude. Want to be able to read the whole fucking thing to you, but it doesn't look like my computer is wanting to pull it up, or maybe it didn't save it when I put it here this morning. Anybody have it? They can send it over to my email real quick. I know, I'm sorry. Oh, poor thing. I know I set myself up for it. It's not my fault. I set myself up. Does anybody have the motion to dismiss and Hank's response? My computer did not download it. It's on my phone. Son of a biznitch. I did it this morning, but I was also busy this morning, so I didn't like double, triple check to make sure it was there. Like a jerk. Son of a biznitch. Yeah. So, I mean, without pulling it up on the screen, because I'm going to see if I can send it to myself. But either way, here's the thing. Basically, in the motion to dismiss, Karen and her attorneys bring up a whole bunch of nonsense they've already brought up. Inverted video, blah, blah, blah. Commonwealth giving videos late that they just found out existed. Thank you, Ashley. The basic crap. The only new thing they put in there is they allege jury tampering, which I find extremely effing funny. And I find rich coming from the people who had to have like 3 people dismissed off the jury. And that's their complaint, is one of the people in pink who was crying got dismissed off the jury because they heard about a situation where she was free Karen Reed. So that's not jury tampering. That's not jury tampering because the court has to agree to dismiss said juror. That's not jury tampering. So I find it extremely funny. Like, hello, Amber. As long as you're respectful, you can totally chill here. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They got them in during trial. Like, for them to complain about anything late is rich to me. Also, I'm coming at this from a legal. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Amber. A legal standpoint, right? Like, knowing what I know when it comes to the law, I am applying all that to this motion to dismiss. Now, this is the defense's fourth try to get this dismissed. Fourth, count it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth friggin' try. They do the same thing every time, which is point fingers at everyone else, try to confuse a little, and say, oh, but here's the thing. Their motion to dismiss was supposed to be for egregious conduct of the government. Problem with that is there was no egregious conduct in this motion, okay? Jury tampering is the only thing that you could consider egregious, and there was no actual jury tampering. To dismiss a juror because you think they have a bias or someone is bringing forth a bias, which is what happened, okay, because we know one of the jurors got drunk and there happened to be another juror with her, and talked all about how she can let Karen walk, blah, blah, blah. There's a reason that juror was dismissed, and rightfully so. The court has to weigh whether they're going to dismiss said juror or not. The court did weigh and chose to dismiss the juror. Therefore, it cannot be jury tampering. Okay, that's not, it is a Hail Mary. You know it is, Frank. It's a complete Hail Mary. Okay, as we knew it would be, and as I've said before, if any of her motion to dismiss had any legal teeth, I would say so. There's no legal teeth to any of this motion to dismiss. There's literally nothing there. Like, I kid you not. And of course, in the Commonwealth's opposition to the motion to dismiss, they basically say as such. They just say it's fucking all garbage, and here is why. Like, there's a 0% chance that this will be dismissed. I just want everyone to understand that. This will not be dismissed. This is her fourth try. This was a Hail Mary, and it wasn't really like, here's the thing. They knew they could put the motion to dismiss in and they could call it a good faith basis to do so, okay, which they have to have a good faith basis to put it in by just complaining about a bunch of minor shit. If the Commonwealth complained about all the minor shit that the defense did wrong, like bringing in witnesses at the very last minute, not giving these documents that they lied about, very clearly lied about, like we'd be playing a whole nother ball game here, right? Like, talk about unfair. So the judge has to weigh mitigating and unmitigating circumstances when it comes to all this. Like, okay, well, they're complaining about this, this, and this, but like, you know, I let them off when it came to this, this, and this because like I didn't think they were doing it maliciously. I don't also think the Commonwealth is doing anything malicious. As long as they don't think the Commonwealth's doing anything malicious, like there's no dismissal to be had. There has to be something there to actually dismiss something. This is our fourth try, okay? And the first 3 tries, there was other things that you could say were like more important that she should have gotten it dismissed on. We all knew none of them were actually important enough to raise the level of dismissal, but like that's what like the defense would argue, right? Like those were more, that would be more important. Now we're down to the nitty gritty. Now we're down to the dumb shit. Anything they could just pick out to try to get it dismissed. Realistically, they know it's not going to be dismissed, just like they knew that the appeal to the SJC was about 1,000% going to fail. I told you guys when they put that in that there was a 0% chance she would win it. And I remember people saying, well, that's pretty bold assertion, Elise. Like, it's pretty bold. No, it's not. There is literal, concrete legal precedent for why she would never win that appeal to the SJC. Like, and I knew it then and I know it now. Literally never. Never, 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 never. Never, 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 never was she going to win that appeal. So I didn't think it was ridiculous to say it was a 0% chance. I knew there was a 0% chance. Anybody with a brain in the law community knows there was a 0% chance she would ever win that appeal. Same for her appealing it again. Okay, there's literal Like there's so much legal precedent. Like there's just no way. Okay, like it's just not. Like it just isn't. It's not a thing. Like I mean, yeah, the Baldwin thing had way different circumstances, though. Like much less was done there. Like they have a lot. Like there was a lot. I saw it. I saw it. Thank you. A lot was going on. A lot. A lot. A lot. A lot. So that's like a really different sort of case. But when it comes to this case, I think half the problem, Amber, is that a lot of people are in an echo chamber. Like um, the practices might be problematic, but they're legal. And if you want to change it, like you get it, you talk to the lawmakers. The Commonwealth decided to dismiss the jurors, so you cannot then call it jury tampering. That's not jury tampering. They didn't talk to the jurors. They didn't, you know what I'm saying? Because that can't be jury tampering. It doesn't fit the things of what jury tampering would be. So it's like that was a huge Hail Mary, in my opinion. Like there will be no dismissal for Karen Read in this case. Like, there just won't be. It's just not going to happen. Like it does. And I want to just point out that Ashley is right. We don't have a problem, or I don't have a problem with differing opinions. My problem starts when people start attacking people personally and just parroting the lies that the sewer turtle has given everyone about people. Like that's where the problem starts. You can have an opinion that doesn't align with mine. Cool, we can still be friends. I have been friends with plenty of people from the other side, like Sean, like for a very long time. We don't agree on the case. We just don't. We don't. But we're still friends because we can have these conversations without, and normally we don't even talk about the case, funny enough. Like we just talk about life, like everything else in life. Like once in a while we might bring up like, oh hey, did you see the motion to dismiss? And I'll say, yeah, I think it's ridiculous now it's getting dismissed. And he'll say, but that was corruption. You know what I'm saying? Like we might not ever agree on the case, but that's cool because we're still friends and like we can still operate as friends. Like it's a case. It doesn't affect my life whether she gets found guilty or not. You know what I mean? Like other than being harassed by the cult, but that's been happening since 2023 daily to me. So that's already was a thing. So like it's not, anything that wasn't going to happen after. Like, well, there needs to be a foundation, yeah, but there needs to be some actual like legal teeth to the argument. And there just isn't any legal teeth to the argument. Like you're saying like the Commonwealth didn't give you these videos or they gave them to you not in a timely manner. Well, if they just found out they existed and they're trying to get them to you and you're stalling them getting them to you, that's on you, not them. If they just discovered them, okay, then there is no Brady violation. That's not how Brady works. There cannot be a Brady violation for evidence they did not know existed. There just cannot. And if we remember, the defense was found to have had a violation of Rule 14 during the trial. So let's remember that. Well, that's another thing. We're talking about complaining about Brian Higgins being on the phone at 1 a.m. Brian Higgins being on the phone at 1 a.m. absolutely proves nothing that has anything to do with Karen. You forget the feds went through all of like his stuff. Like who he was on the phone with, I promise you, had nothing to do with the Alberts, the McCabe's. Who he was on the phone with was someone whose house he was going to go plow their driveway. Okay, that's who he was on the phone with. So everybody's saying like, oh, well, who was he on the phone with? Well, I promise you it wasn't the Alberts, it wasn't McCabe's, it wasn't the O'Keefe's. It was someone whose driveway he was going to plow. It had nothing to do with the case. And showing that he was on the phone at 1:30 in the morning doesn't help her. Like Frank said, it's not exculpatory. Like him being on the phone is not exculpatory. It's irrelevant. The feds already looked at that and they know who he talked to. Like, you know? Well, that's another thing. Like Fanning had nothing to, he didn't investigate the Karen Reed case, okay? Every time there's a jury, there is a trooper, especially high profile, there's a trooper assigned to the jury. Fanny was the trooper assigned to the jury. He wasn't in the Karen Reed case. He had nothing to do with investigating that case. The sewer turtle just doesn't like him because he was involved in arresting him. That's where that goes, is he doesn't like him because he was involved in arresting him. So now he's bad, right? Like, he had nothing to do with Karen's case. Like, exactly. I don't choose my friends base. Some of my friends and me do not agree when it comes to politics. That's cool. We don't have to. I still love them. And if they called the phone right now and said, I need your help, I need you to get off that live stream, I'm bawling my eyes out, I'm crying, I would be like, all right, sorry guys, I gotta go. See you next time. Like, I don't need to pick my friends, like Free said, based on one position on one issue. Like, we can disagree on a billion things and I can still love you. And like, that's the thing. The hatred is what bothers me. You hate people you don't know because he told you they were bad. People don't realize how much shit he makes up. His quote receipts, they're cropped on purpose because he doesn't want you to see what he wrote and he doesn't want you to get the full context. So he takes pieces of things and actually takes other pieces of other things and puts them together to try to make something look nefarious that isn't. Now, I don't know why people have not figured that out yet. It's like completely like right in front of your face. And if you had any brain cells left, you could see it, right? It really disturbs me that people still believe it and go, but I have receipts. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. No, he does not. He makes shit up and takes things out of context. Like, when are you guys going to realize it? It's really not hard. Like, I can't. Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? If you defend Sean, right, you're all of a sudden an a-hole. Now, that right there should have, and the thing is, everybody's like, oh, Sean started it. No, Sean did not start it, okay? The sewer turtle started making little, and this is what he does. It's a pattern of behavior. He did to me, he did to other people. He does these little digs here. No, Riley. He does these little digs, these little tiny digs over time before he actually, like, attacks. And usually it's a short amount of time, but it might be days or a couple of weeks, whatever. And he does that before he attacks. And that is what he was doing to Sean. And Sean, attacked Sean more than once. And Sean finally had enough of it. Sean has a right to defend himself, just like anybody else would. But it's the same thing he does to everyone. It's the same, the literal same. It's not anything different. It's the same thing he does to every single person. Like, same, literally same. Like, but I don't know why people don't realize, if you defend someone he doesn't like, you magically become the enemy now. You are the enemy. You are bad, right? Call you a million names. He'll make up a million things about you. He'll tell his little people in private, like, you need to attack that person. Get them out of here. Silence them. I don't want them around anymore. And that's what will happen. And then you'll be attacked. That's not normal. That's not okay. And that is where I think people need to start to wake up. Like, wait, that's wrong, right? Like, and if he's doing that to one person, you think he just stopped there? Like, he hasn't done it to anyone else before? Like, he just started doing it now? Like, no, obviously not. Obviously not. Like, it's not a thing. Like, yeah, they don't. They don't have to, like, he's not on trial. They don't have to give them things that aren't exculpatory. That's the thing. They don't have to give them anything that isn't exculpatory. Brian Higgins being on the phone isn't exculpatory, but they were still willing to give it when they found out it existed. That's the difference. And I've known Ashley for a while now, but a lot of people didn't actually know that I had my own channel, which I'm like, how do you not know by now? But other people know. So you eventually found your way here, right? Like, you will always have a home of friends here, dude. Listen, my viewers are the best. Like, my live chats, I love them so much. Like, they're very welcoming people. They're very kind people. Like, no one's an asshole here unless you're starting to be an asshole. And then, like, I don't know, like, that's on you. Like, that's hilarious, Jane. That is freaking hilarious. He was literally talking to someone whose driveway he was going to plow. That's how sad, like, we're at with these people and their conspiracy. Like, that's who he was talking to. someone whose driveway who's going to plow. Like, I can't. Like, yes, exactly. That's the thing, right? So when you poke someone and poke someone, see, that's what a malignant narcissist does. But when you poke someone, right, and you poke someone and you poke someone and you poke someone and they respond, that's then when you call them crazy. Look at this person, they're crazy. No, it's because they've been poked and poked and poked and poked until they snapped at you. Now they're crazy because you're the one did the poking. That's not the way it works. I'm going to point out this is the same shit people do to Lindsay. Like, sorry, not sorry. If I was her, I wouldn't have given the courtesy of a phone call. I would have been at your front door. Like, she's got more patience than I do, I'll tell you that much. Like, I would not have given the courtesy of a phone call. Spaghetti, yeah. Yannetti spaghetti. I feel like we need a song about Yannetti spaghetti. I feel like that should be a thing. Like, you know, like a real Italian song. Like, listen, I've been sober 18 years from opiates, okay? I drink maybe 6 times a year, maybe 6 to 10 times a year, tops, mostly like Thanksgiving, Christmas, my birthday, vacation, if I'm on vacation, adult vacation without my kids, like things like that. Like, other than that, I don't really care. I might have a glass of wine. Like, I think Thanksgiving I had like 2 glasses of wine. Like, I don't care for drinking a ton, but I've been someone who's been sober 18 long years. So, you know, I get digs all the time where people are like, you're just a junkie. And I'm like, yeah, 18 years ago I might have been, but it's T minus been a whole lifetime. like, like lifetime. Oh yeah, there was a lot of attacks launched against Sean, but I mean that's you know what the Sewer Turtle wanted. That's how he operates. You know, it's I mean it's you know thank you, I appreciate it. It's just one day, just like everyone else. Just one day, one day. YMCA. Hey, listen, it might work. It could work. It could. What it breaks down to is the motion to dismiss has no legal teeth to it, and ultimately it will fail. Um, let me see if I can pull up exactly what Freak sent me here. Yeah, unfortunately, I did not have fun in foster care when I was a kid. I was abused in foster care, so I'm not a fan of foster care. Yeah, that's what he does. It's always done. That's what he's always done. You want to know why too? It's sad. And this is the sad part is literally um he gets jealous. If you tell him like you like that other person or their show or whatever, like he literally gets like rage jealous, like child rage jealous. It's kind of sad. Thank you. Visit site, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Come on now, phone open. Yeah, it was pretty awful for me as a kid. Like, especially when you're like, you know, telling your workers you're being abused and like no one listens. Like that's for years at a time. Yeah, that was fun. It's just fucked up. Somebody's got to do it though. There are good people in the system. It's just few and far between nowadays, unfortunately. But that's why a lot of people quit that system. Like, you know, being a caseworker or a foster parent. That's why they leave the system because they just can't deal with what's happening or they don't want to be a part of it and they can't stop it. So they leave. Oh, yeah, here it is. Yeah, this is the redacted version. So, yeah, blah, 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 ethical violations. The Commonwealth disputes any ethical violations or misconduct, let alone misconduct that taints the legal system or infringes upon the defendant's right to a fair trial. The defendant's motion should be denied. Dismissal as a sanction is a very strong medicine, as it should be prescribed only when the government misconduct is so intentional and so egregious, and appropriate only upon a showing of irredeemable harm to the defendant's opportunity to obtain a fair trial. That's Bridgman versus the District Attorney versus Suffolk District. To the extent the defendant has suggested that egregious circumstances might warrant dismissal, the Supreme Judicial Court has noted that we have never dismissed charges in such circumstances in the absence of prejudice. Commonwealth v. Mason. Judicial responses should be limited to truly remedial and not punitive measures. Quoting Commonwealth versus Hines, 1984. The Commonwealth does not dispute in its prosecutorial obligations and constitutional duty to disclose in a timely manner material exculpatory evidence over which it has possession, custody, or control. Brady versus Maryland. In the matter of a grand jury investigation, nor does the Commonwealth dispute its broad obligations to inquire and disclose any facts that would tend to exculpate the defendant or diminish her culpability, and all statements of witnesses. See Commonwealth versus Ellison. The Brady obligation comprehends evidence which provides some significant aid to the defendant's case. However, to prevail on a claim that the prosecution failed to disclose exculpatory evidence, the defendant must first prove that the evidence was in fact exculpatory, which obviously, as we know, yeah, it is kidnapping. It's illegal kidnapping, literally. Yeah, I know. So then it says Canton Police Department surveillance video. So he, goes through each thing pretty much. He says, in 2022, the Commonwealth provided the defense with approximately 90 crime scene service photographs depicting the condition of the defendant's vehicle in the Canton Police Department Sallyport. Further provided to the defense was ring surveillance video of the defendant's broken rear taillight at approximately 5 a.m., statements of witnesses who observed the defendant's broken taillight around 5:30 a.m., Canton Police Cruiser video depicting the defendant's broken taillight at approximately 8 a.m., observations of a damaged taillight by the Dighton Police, and automated vehicle location data from troopers, cruisers who were assigned to the CERT team, evidencing that the CERT team was on Fairview Road before the defendant's vehicle arrived at the Canton Police Station. Lieutenant Kevin O'Hara of the Massachusetts State Police CERT team testified at trial, and his automated vehicle locator records confirm his arrival at 34 Fairview Road on January 29, 2022 at 4:56 p.m. Lieutenant O'Hara additionally testified that his arrival was preceded by one other trooper from his unit, Trooper Jason Beausoleil. I don't know how to say his last name. Beausoleil? I don't know. At 4:54 p.m. The defendant's vehicle arrived on the back of a flatbed tow truck at the Canton Police Station at 5:30 p.m. The defendant has also repeatedly represented in the media and postured at trial that her taillight was broken at 5 a.m. by striking the victim's parked vehicle in the driveway of the victim's home. The Commonwealth has provided substantial evidence, including accident reconstruction video from its experts, Judd Welcher, demonstrating otherwise. Beyond unsupported claims and vague innuendos, the defense struggles to establish how the condition of the defendant's broken taillight in the Canton Police Department Sallyport is in fact exculpatory, or the most critical and highly contested issue in the case. Despite claims to the contrary, the defense never filed a motion to preserve, or in its perpetually evolving theory of the case, did the defendant specifically request prior to November 2024 surveillance video from the Canton Police Station. The defense, and there's a footnote on here, right? And it says, Linda, listen, I love that one. Linda, listen, look at Linda, look at. I freaking love that video. It's so funny. Like, the defense claims their February 2nd, 2022 request was for all physical evidence, including anything present on or near the decedent at the time his body was discovered. Anything found at the alleged crime scene was sufficient notice to the Commonwealth to preserve footage from the Canton Police Department Sallyport, where the defendant's vehicle was stored for approximately 2 days. Defendant Exhibit A. The Canton Police Department is not the alleged crime scene. The Commonwealth could not reasonably have anticipated the defense's ever-evolving third-party culprit claims, nor to this day made the Canton Police Department video pertinent to their amorphous and fluid claims. Oh boy, he laid it on them. Nevertheless, the trial prosecutor was not aware of the existence of surveillance video in the Canton Police Department Sallyport until receiving the federal grand jury transcript of Massachusetts State Trooper Michael Proctor. Prior to that, the prosecutor had not been alerted to its existence by investigating officers. Promptly on April 4th, 2024, the Commonwealth provided the defendant with 9 surveillance videos in its possession, consisting of video footage of the main driveway of the Canton Police Station and video files entitled O'Keefe Sallyport, O'Keefe Sallyport, O'Keefe Sallyport. It's just times and dates of O'Keefe Sallyport. Notably, the quality of the video is poor in certain portions. However, that is the condition it was recorded in and the condition in which it was received by the prosecutor. The Commonwealth has produced evidence that since January 2022, the Sallyport camera was replaced due to its defective condition. And during the first trial, the Commonwealth called the technology director for the town of Canton to testify about surveillance video systems throughout the town. He was subject to cross-examination by the defense. The Commonwealth filed its certificate of compliance on April 10th, noting that to the best of its knowledge and after reasonable inquiry, it had disclosed all information subject to mass law, blah, blah, blah. The parties were in court on April 12th, 2024 to argue motions in limine. During the defense televised motions to admit third-party culprit evidence, the attorney Annetti made representations about the Canton Police Department surveillance videos. Following that hearing on April 17th, 2024, Lieutenant Brian Tully sent prosecution team members an email stating, I spoke with Chief Rafferty. She reviewed the video of the SUV arriving at CPD exists and we should have it, contrary to what the defense represented on Friday. The video depicts the vehicle entering the Sallyport and crime scene tape being set up. She is putting it on a thumb drive for us in the event we don't have it. The prosecutor had not previously received this video or knew of its existence. Subsequently, the prosecutor requested that both the Massachusetts State Police and Canton PD produce all relevant material surveillance video. On April 23rd, the Commonwealth provided the defendant with surveillance video entitled Interior Sallyport Back Wall. Notably, what was produced to the Commonwealth and provided to the defense was inverted surveillance footage due to the camera settings. The Commonwealth did not manipulate or alter any video and entered as a trial exhibit the video in the condition it was received. So they tell you right there, like, that's the way it was recorded. Okay? That's the way the video was recorded, was mirrored. I love when they use the word inverted on purpose to make it sound like it's more nefarious. It's not inverted, okay? It's mirrored. My image is mirrored right now. Right now. You're literally watching me mirrored. Literally. You're watching me mirrored. Hey, Christina. That's what you're watching. You're watching me mirrored, which is inverted right now. That's what you're watching. Me inverted. So, like, come on. Like, realistically. But it was inverted, guys. Like, dude, it changes nothing. So look, right? If you can't see my hand here in the video when it's inverted, you still cannot see my hand if I unmirror this image. And this is what people don't seem to understand, okay? They seem to think that if you uninvert the video, that they're magically going to see that taillight. You're not. What you can see in the video is what you can see in the video. Whether it's mirrored or unmirrored, you still aren't going to see what you can't see. If you uninvert this video, you're still not going to see my hand. It's still going to stop here. Okay? Mine's mirrored right this very second. That's the setting that it's automatically set to when I stream, is mirrored image. So, I mean, it's not rocket science, but you would think it is for some of these people. It's kind of sad, I know, but like, it's the reality of the situation. Like, yeah, I know, right? What kind of voodoo magic freak, kind of voodoo magic are we doing over here? Like, it's not rocket science, guys. It's really not. Although I do know a rocket scientist. My friend Brittany is a rocket scientist. I kid you not. All right. Oh, God, this is 15 pages. I'm not reading the whole 15 pages. I forgot that it was this long. It's because I read fast on my own. Like when I'm reading it and not doing it out loud, I read really fast. The what with the who? No. I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what that is. Belching contest? Like actual like burping? That's what we're talking about? Like that's like real, is that a real thing? Like I have no idea. That's gross though. Oh, they say it here. It's so funny. Okay, what I just said, they like further down what I just read by looking at it, it says, okay, what was produced to the Commonwealth and provided the defense was inverted surveillance footage due to the camera settings. The Commonwealth did not manipulate or alter any video as entered as a trial exhibit, the video in the condition it was received. Contrary to the defendant's representations that the Commonwealth's intention was to mislead or deceive the jury by introducing the, quote, inverted video, the defendant fails to mention that after the defense altered the evidence to correct, and I have said this, the defense altered it because they uninverted it. It was recorded as inverted. So when you change that, you alter it. The defense altered it. Like I said this last year during trial when they brought this issue up. You can go back and watch it. Okay. Defendant fails to mention that after the defense altered the evidence to, quote, correct the image to appear consistent with the human eye, the Commonwealth played the entirety of the corrected yet altered video, which reveals that Trooper Proctor is standing feet away from the defendant's vehicle and never touched the rear taillight. Further omitted from the defendant's filing is the fact that Trooper Proctor's DNA was not on the rear taillight. Now, I told you guys about the DNA way back, way back. This was November of 2023 that I knew that Proctor and Buchanan's DNA had been taken to see if it was on there by the feds. So, yeah. No, did you know that I started out thinking she was innocent, Amber? Did you know that? Once the evidence came out, I had no choice but to change my mind. So, no, I don't think that I have an unconscious bias because I've literally seen this case from both sides. And my issues with him have nothing to do with anything. I'm not going to say someone's guilty just because I don't like him. I think people conflate that. There are plenty of people who think Karen is innocent and hate him. And there are plenty of people who hate him here and think she's guilty. The two things can coexist at once. He is a piece of shit and she is still guilty. I know you're not, but it's not. The reason I don't like him has nothing to do with her. Like has to do with what he does to people, even outside of Karen's case, because it happened with me, so I know, right? Like it has nothing to do with Karen's guilt or innocence in and itself. It has to do with what he does to innocent people, and this is like a pattern of behavior, things that he did that I didn't know about until after he did it to me. He was doing long before this case ever existed to people. It's a pattern. If you go back and like watch it happen, like I had to afterwards over like years time, like, and I didn't change my mind on this case until the actual evidence came out. And then I was like, okay, wait a second, this evidence doesn't jive with what we were being told, like not even a little. So like I had no choice but to be like, okay, I was wrong. Like unfortunately, the evidence says otherwise. John's phone never goes into that house. John's phone stops moving seconds after Karen's car goes in reverse and stops. Like, that's just as good as a snapshot in time. It's literally, his phone stops moving permanently after her car backs up. Permanently. Never moves again. And it's found underneath him. I mean, she changes her story 3 times. She tells everybody, Steve, we know who did it, Steve. Everyone knows who did it, Steve. You all know. And in the most recent interview, Ted asked you, who did it? We don't know. We don't know who did it. They've pointed the finger at 16 people who did it, but now none of those people did it. Now Colin didn't do it. Now Proctor didn't plant it. And this is the stuff they've been saying the entire time. If that doesn't give you pause as someone who believes her that she's innocent, I don't know at point what would. I mean, he's lying to the world by telling people the federal investigation isn't over, and I've known it was over for a year, and so did Ted Daniel. He got the same thing at the same time as I did. He's known it's been over for a year. I've known it's been over for a year. The difference between me and him is I told people it was over. He didn't. He chose to stay quiet and say nothing. I know it was a real question. I've had people ask it before, but people conflate that. Like, there are plenty of people who think Karen's innocent who can't stand him, who literally can't stand him. It's the same is true here, you know? Like, both things can be true at the same time. Well, that's the thing, right? You won't ever see it, and that's where I feel bad. That's where I start to feel bad. It's just in my nature to feel bad for anybody I think that's being taken advantage of or lied to. But like, I do feel bad for some of these people. Like, staying in that echo chamber, they don't start to realize like something is very wrong until it happens to them or somebody they care about, and then they're like, wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. If he can do that to me, like, what else has he done to other people? And then that's when you start to see, like, the pattern, and you go back and like, wow, this pattern has happened long before the Karen Read case happened. Like, long before. Like, see you later, alligator. You can text me anytime, anytime. All right, so yeah, basically what he says is like, the DNA is not on the taillight. He never touches the taillight. Proctor doesn't touch the taillight. But as we know now, like, they're claiming, oh, it was Proctor. Now it's not, now it's not Proctor. After the trial, a certified forensic video technician employed by the Norfolk District Attorney's Office reviewed the surveillance footage that had been previously produced to the defense. Recognizing the video was extremely dark with minimal visible detail, the video technician clarified the video footage, and on October 10th, 2024, the Commonwealth produced to the defense clarified videos, reports detailing the forensic clarification process, associated hash values, and extracted still images from the Canton Police Sally Port. Furthermore, the video technician clarified video images from the Canton Police Cruiser camera footage on January 29, 2022 at 8:23 a.m. The Canton Police Department interior Sally Port front wall footage from January 29, 2022 at 6:13 p.m. and the Massachusetts State Police Crime Scene Services section photographs from February 1st, 2022. Each depicting the same damage to the rear taillight, and encapsulated those images in a substantive report provided to the defense. Basically, they're saying it's garbage. We provided them this shit before, and all the technician did was clarify the darker bits of video so you could actually see what was happening in them. Now, that's what they're saying. Like, and then further, the defense is unable to demonstrate any prejudice. So we redacted a little bit. I think I know what it is, but that little portion is redacted. Both Brian Higgins and Brian Albert were thoroughly cross-examined at trial about their cell phones and one another. The Commonwealth provided the defense with 167 pages of access card swipe records throughout the Canton PD department on January 29, 2022. Mr. Higgins was cross-examined about his movements through the Canton Police Department on January 29, 2022. January 28, 2025, the Commonwealth provided the defense with surveillance video from the main driveway side exterior Sally Port that depicts a different camera angle of the defendant's vehicle arriving at the Canton Police Station Sally Port, notably consistent with other videos received from the Canton PD Sally Port. The quality of video is poor. There's absolutely nothing depicted in this video that is exculpatory or undermines the consistent evidence that the defendant's right rear taillight was broken and pieces were missing prior to the vehicle being towed from Dighton. Prior to late January 2025, the prosecutors had never seen this video. After directing a review of all physical and data files, the video was located within a paper case file of investigators. After inquiry, it was learned the investigator obtained this video from the Canton PD in 2022, and it was placed in a physical case file and never provided to the prosecutor or multimedia assistant for download. Although the prosecutor was wholly unaware of this video until recently, the Commonwealth does not dispute that the video was in its custody during the defendant's first trial. Had the prosecutor known about this video, it would have been produced, as every other video known to the prosecutor was. So basically what they're saying is this video doesn't show anything. So first of all, it's not exculpatory. And secondly, it didn't prejudice anyone because it doesn't show a goddamn thing. So, and also Lally didn't know it existed. So as soon as we did, we gave it to you because it still shows nothing and is not exculpatory in any way, shape, or form. Like, yeah, I really hope that they can get that one and clear it up a little. I would appreciate to see if we can hear if she says, John, is that you? Because it's, you know, a little muffled. So you're like, is that what she says? Or is there another explanation for what she says? Even if there's another explanation, those other ones are pretty bad. Like exactly it. Brennan is a very smart man. He's going to turn anything over that he thinks like they could even argue about. He's going to turn it, even if he doesn't think it should have to be turned over, he's turned it over. Things that don't even matter, he's turned over. That's being overly cautious, but he's a smart man. He's not an idiot. He was a defense attorney and a prosecutor. The guy's not a moron. The guy is amazing. He has a very good attention to detail. He doesn't miss a beat. And I find it funny that the things that I think that he's going to say, he almost always says. And it just reaffirms to me that I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, you can go back and watch my predictions of what I think is going to happen, what I think is going to be said, and I nail it every time. Like, it's not random, but that's the thing. Any law tuber watching this should nail it every time. Like, that's what bugs me, is they should nail everything that's going to be said every time. It's not hard. You should know what the arguments are going to be. Like, so, I mean, the video was their best argument of a motion to dismiss was this. And Hank, once again, hits it out the park by being like, yeah, no, like, that's not what happened. Sorry, not sorry. Like, oh, I got to plug in my computer here. It was already plugged in at some point. Yeah, I know. Hold on. Yes, computer, I heard you're dying. Chill out. Yeah, I know. Oh, see, I hate, does anybody else's computer do that? Like, when you plug it in after it's like gonna die, the like screen itself gets darker. That drives me freaking batty. Absolutely batty. No, not system. No, not printers, not cameras. It's wicked annoying. Not the microphone, not the no. So annoying. Yeah, change my brightness level. Sorry, guys. I need to turn this back up because it went down to like 50 and it's obnoxious at that level. I can't see anything. Yeah, there we go. Well, that's the thing. They're saying Lally didn't know it was found in like a written file, and they had no idea. Lally didn't know it existed. That's what it said. Lally did not know that it existed. So when Hank was doing his like, double back on everything and went to find anything that had to do with anything of that date, the case, so he didn't just go and look for things that said, Karen Reed on them, like for the case. Like, he went and tried to find anything from those dates to make sure something wasn't. And that's when he found it and was like, oh, okay, like it was dark, couldn't really see it. So they had them clean it up, like the video. But once again, you still have to prove that it would be prejudice to the jury or exculpatory. And like a video of nothingness showing the same thing the other 7 videos show doesn't. Like, so, unfortunately, oh, hey, girl, hey. No, he didn't know. If he didn't know it existed, it's not a Brady violation. You have to know it exists. You have to know. Like, oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, Lally is smart, but Hank has a lot more oomph. When he talks, even like I told you guys at the very beginning, before he ever, got in front of a court or a camera at the court, to watch him, to pay attention, that he demands a presence in the courtroom, and he does, and that he's very detailed. He's very, very smart. He's very intelligent. Like, I remember telling you guys this before he ever stepped into that courtroom. Like, you can't help but to listen to everything he says, literally, and not even on purpose. Like, it's just the way he speaks. Like, it's almost the same. Like, you have to listen to everything Jackson says too, because he says it with some oomph. So it's like you can't miss what they're saying because they have a presence in the courtroom. And as an attorney, you want a presence in the courtroom. You don't want to yell. You don't want to seem too smug. And I think that's where Jackson sort of fucked up, because Massachusetts is not California. They're like 2 totally different worlds. Massachusetts and California are 2 totally different places. What works in California Not going to work here in Massachusetts. And I think he made a very large mistake when he assumed that what works there with the fancy, showboating was going to work here. We don't like that here. The jury was never going to like that here. So like he needed to sort of mold to what Massachusetts likes or is like, and he didn't do that in a way that made sense for the last trial. They did not appreciate him sort of pointing fingers at 100 different witnesses, like who did it, which one, anyone, pick one. And at the time when I covered the case, I told you guys this pick one anyone thing, not going to work for the jury. They don't want to pick one anyone. If you're going to argue someone else did it, they want to know who you think did it. No, the defense does not have to prove who else did it. But if you're asking a jury to sort of think of someone else that could have done it, pointing a finger at 6, 7, 8, 9 people is not going to work for them. You got to make your argument more centered towards 1 or 2 people of like who you think did it. Like you can't just be pointing fingers at every single person. Like that's not going to work. I knew it wouldn't then, and I know it doesn't now. Like, yes, I am. Isn't that amazing? I know. Oh, he is. He's very much. They are very much ready. But it wasn't just the police that were investigating either. There were regular Canton PD that were investigating at first. Like they got there first. So anything they got, like that the state police didn't get, like, or they, whatever, like there might have been a mix in communication where someone put something in that file and just didn't tell. It happens. I've seen it happen in plenty of cases before. But if they don't know it exists, it's one thing to not know it exists. It's another thing to do what the defense did recently and lie. And then continue to lie in front of the judge. That was so bad. Like I have never seen someone take such a spanking as what the defense took last week. That was so freaking bad. And like, even they know the judge ain't buying it. I'm sorry. You just filed a motion saying the exact same thing. We did not pay for or hire ARCA. They are neutral in a motion from just days before that. They didn't do themselves any favors. That's for damn sure. Like, that's for damn sure. Like, well, that's the problem. The smugness. Massachusetts doesn't like that. We don't like that. The smugness isn't going to help either one of them. It's just not. Commanding a presence is one thing. People paying attention to you because you have that sort of presence is what you want as an attorney. The smugness, no. The attacking, absolutely not. That might work in California. I don't know. But it don't work here. It's just not something. Little needs to stop talking unless her voice is going to stop cracking because it just makes her sound like she's constantly nervous. And I think she's one of those very soft-spoken people. So like when she has to like raise her voice and actually like attorney some shit, she gets afraid. She's scared and her voice cracks every time. It's just a bad look for an attorney for your voice to always be cracking. It sounds like you're freaking petrified. Like, I mean, I get it. I wouldn't want the system to control anyone, but I do think that you have to have some sort of decorum, as an attorney. That's kind of yes, you want to sort of be yourself. You want to have a little different, difference than other attorneys. But there's a difference between like I said, demanding a presence, right? And being a smug asshole. Like there's a big difference. You don't have to be a smug asshole to do a good cross-examination. You just don't. You just have to ask good questions. No, I mean in all the times that Little has been there, like in all the times that she's spoken out loud and all the times that she's done any sort of anything in the trial, like almost every single time her voice has cracked. It seems like she's petrified. Like it might be. Jackson's definitely the face. That's definitely for sure. He's definitely like the face of that like defense table, which is kind of why it's going to be so bad if like they take away his pro hoc vice. I honestly don't think there's another answer but to take away his pro hoc vice. Whether the judge does it or not, that's a whole nother story. What she decides to do, what she sanctions him with, we'll find out. But if she doesn't get some, control back of her courtroom, she's just inviting it to happen again and again and again by people being like, well, look what this judge did here. And she barely tapped him on the wrist. Like she's got to make an example out of this so that nobody ever tries this in her courtroom again. If she doesn't, it's her reputation on the line, Okie dokie. So basically, it just goes on to talk about, oh, it says facilitated the request on December 12th. Okay. Okay. So it says facilitated the request and on December 12th, 2024. So this was recent. In the presence of the defendant's expert, it was discovered nearly 3 years after the incident that the footage on the DVR was overwritten and the system no longer maintained the original surveillance footage to be forensically extracted. This also marked the first time the defense had made my request for metadata or logs pertaining to these videos, as neither the defense February 2nd, 2022, nor October 5th, 2022 motions or corresponding orders make any reference to such materials. Then he quotes a defendant who seeks relief from the loss or destruction of potentially exculpatory evidence has the initial burden to establish a reasonable possibility based on concrete evidence rather than a fertile imagination that access to the lost or destroyed evidence would have produced evidence favorable to his cause. If he meets his initial burden, a balancing test is employed to determine the appropriateness and extent of remedial action. The courts must weigh the culpability of the Commonwealth, the materiality of the evidence, and the potential prejudice to the defendant. Commonwealth v. Williams, quoting Commonwealth v. Cintron, internal quotations and citations omitted. See also Commonwealth v. Heath. Here, the defendant fails to meet her initial burden. She has presented absolutely no evidence that a forensic copy of the Sally Port surveillance video with metadata and logs would have been exculpatory. Rather, she relies upon innuendos and unsubstantiated allegations that are speculative at best and not the equivalent of concrete evidence. Even if this court were to engage in a balancing test, dismissal would be inappropriate as there is no evidence of egregious misconduct on the part of the Commonwealth, and any potential prejudice stemming from the overwritten videos could be remedied at trial. Court must consider the culpability of the Commonwealth, the materiality of the evidence, and the potential prejudice to the defendant. The defendant can point to no evidence of bad faith on behalf of the Commonwealth, nor any of its agents, particularly where the Commonwealth is equally aggrieved by the poor video quality and inability to obtain a forensically extracted copy of the surveillance video is fully disprove the defendant's repeated and baseless allegations of evidence tampering. So basically they're saying, like, we got the shitty video too. Like, we want a clearer video. We got the shitty version of the video too. It's hurting us too. Like, there's no magic evidence tampering going on here of a video that is shitty at best. Like, we both get shitty video. Like, it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, sorry, not sorry. Statement of Jen McCabe. That's the next thing they do. Violation of the defense's discovery order to produce all reciprocal discovery, including impeachment evidence to the Commonwealth prior to the start of trial. It was during the third week of trial, May 7th, defense produced reciprocal discovery to the Commonwealth regarding location information of Jennifer McCabe's cell phone. 3 days later, on May 10th, in anticipation of her trial testimony, the Commonwealth met with Jen McCabe, as it does with all its witnesses. On May 29th, 2024, Lieutenant Tully wrote a police report memorializing, oh my God, memorializing, my friggin' brain, memorializing the meeting and explained when asked why her cell phone would have been in the area of the residence of Sergeant Michael Link on January 30th, 2022. Jennifer stated she was with Kerry Roberts, who was picking up her daughter at the residence. Jennifer did not speak with Michael Link while at the residence. That's another thing. If she had, guess who would have had that? The feds. I have like a piece of dead skin, like at the top of my mouth, and it's just like not coming off. But common sense, like, they would have seen the feds all the information. Like, it would have, like, if they had contact, I think he was either in the house or wasn't even home. Once again, small town, people's kids know each other, they play sports together, they go to school together. Like, that's not abnormal to know that your next door neighbor is a cop in the town that you live in, and his kid gets off the bus with your kid, or his kid has softball with your kid, or his kid plays gymnastics with your kid. Like, and they're friends and they hang out. Like, that's not abnormal by any stretch of the imagination. It's actually pretty normal in a small town. Like, Okay, so then basically it says she didn't speak with Link while there. The Commonwealth produced Lieutenant Tully's report. And then, in response to the same claim raised by the defense, the prosecutor explained to the court that Ms. McCabe met with Lieutenant Tully, looked at some video, and asked a single question. The report wasn't available. It didn't have it until after Ms. McCabe testified, but it was given to counsel prior to Lieutenant Tully testifying. Exhibit O. On May 21st, 2024, Attorney Jackson vigorously cross-examined Ms. McCabe. Mrs. McCabe, and she detailed her reasons for being at the driveway of Sergeant Lang's home on January 30th. During cross-examination, Attorney Jackson elicited testimony that was Lieutenant Tully who asked Mrs. McCabe an open-ended question of, did you go to Michael Lang's on January 30th? Attorney Jackson then questioned Mrs. McCabe about whether there was any follow-up questions or whether the Commonwealth revealed the defense's report. Ms. McCabe testified that neither occurred. Notably, the Commonwealth produced Lieutenant Tully's report once it was available to the defense prior to Lieutenant Tully's testimony. Lieutenant Tully was available to be cross-examined about his recent meeting with Jennifer McCabe and or any perceived inadequacies in the investigation related to Ms. McCabe's phone whereabouts. The defense declined to do so. So they didn't want to cross-examine Tully. Shocker. Same way they didn't want to cross Carrie Roberts, right? What were they going to cross her about? Right, right. And this is where the logic blows up, right? Like, so because Jen went with Carrie, dropped the kid off, now what? Karen didn't do it? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, so are you saying that Lank conspired with Jen McCabe, and because Lank went into the house that morning, but you guys like to say that never went in the house, they did go in the house that morning. Lank's covering for them. Like, that's what they imply, but it's like covering for what? The taillight didn't get there until after Karen was already, like, her car wasn't even into the Sally port when they started finding pieces of taillight. The CERT team found the pieces of taillight. It didn't just magically, somebody didn't sprinkle it under the snow, right? Like, because they'd be marks. They had to dig. Like, so come on. We can do it. We can do it with our common sense here, people. Like, they like to try to point a finger like, oh, well, Lank must be helping cover up. Well, how many more people are we going to add to this conspiracy? Because to me, it seems like there's way too many people in this conspiracy, like way too many people. It's a little ridiculous, if you ask me, like a little bit ridiculous. Like, come on now. Like, this is cuckoo bananas, like absolutely cuckoo bananas. Like, it says, however, most enlightening. Oh, wait, Sergeant Lang, I don't want to ask her. One of few precipitant witness a single question on the defendant's lack of prejudice is on June 18th, 2024. Attorney Jackson stated during trial, the Commonwealth interviewed Jen McCabe. Apparently had a full interview with her. Lieutenant Tully took a report, dated the report, and then they, the Commonwealth, held on to that report until after she testified. The interview, the report, and the completion of the report were all done before her testimony. See Exhibit O. Immediately the court offered, do you need to call her again? Attorney Jackson responded, no, Your Honor, I'm not. That's not. And I think the court understands that's not my point. The point is not that I need to call Jennifer McCabe back. I've done the damage that needs to be done on Jennifer McCabe. The court, I'm sorry, I missed that. You've what, Attorney Jackson? Remember, because the judge stopped him and goes, you the damage? Like, you don't say something like that. And that's why she wanted him to repeat it. Like, you what? Like, and he acted like, of course, she didn't hear him. Like, so he changed what he said. But we heard him. Like, but everybody, listen, I grew up between Quincy and Weymouth, okay? Everybody knew everybody in my neighborhoods. Everyone. We knew who was the court officer at the courthouse, who worked at City Hall, whose parents, like, what does that exactly mean? Just because they knew each other doesn't make anything different. Like, it doesn't make anything different at all. Like, hold on one second, you guys. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so basically, it says they didn't want to call her again. Okay. Um, sorry, I lost it scrolled back on me. I only said that. I did all the damage to Jennifer McCabe, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, you didn't. Like, you didn't actually. The jury found her to be credible because she was. Like, yeah, people know each other. It's not like it is a nuts statement to make. Like, what the hell? Like, well, but yeah, it did exactly. Does he get his job back now after you guys accused him of doing something he didn't do? Exactly. Small towns, that's just how it works, like I know I get that's what they're arguing, but like it just doesn't work. You know what I mean? It doesn't work for the simple fact of Canton hasn't had a murder in like 26 years before this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it is a very small town. Most people know each other. It's not rocket science. Like they just do. And a lot of people grew up exactly that same way. A lot of those jurors are going to grow up exactly that same way in the South Shore. In small towns where their parents knew the parents of like the soccer, like my across the street neighbor, his kids played soccer with me and he was the coach. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just like the people who owned the street was named after lived like down at the end of the street. It was like a cul-de-sac. They lived at the very end of the street. I knew every single neighbor on that street. I still do. One of them happens to be my eye doctor. I grew up with his kids, used to swim in his pool and he's still my eye doctor to this day. Like, you know? So it's like there's no avoiding people are going to know each other. You wouldn't be investigating and talking to people like who didn't know your victim. Like, you know what I mean? Like but that's why the state police basically took over most of the rest of this investigation. So it's like Lank really had nothing to do with it other than being one of the first officers on scene that morning. The state police took it over. So what's Lank going to do for them? You know what I mean? Like what's he going to do for them? Like um so it says yeah, the court. I'm sorry I missed that. You've what, Attorney Jackson? I've done the damage that needed to be done on Jennifer McCabe. I don't need to call her back. When given the opportunity to remedy any perceived prejudice, the defense declined to do so. Then they go on to the juror dismissal. You know, he didn't have to ask to search the house, though. John was found outside. He was not found inside. And at that point, nobody had said that he was inside. As a matter of fact, they're saying the complete opposite. And he was inside. He did go inside. He was inside their house. So if he had seen anything that was amiss, awry, he wasn't the only one in there. So amiss, awry, knocked around, whatever, they might have asked at that point. But there was no reason to ask to search their house just because he was found outside. That's not, everybody at this point is saying he never came in the house. And I'm sure at this point, Jen is saying, the last time I saw him was with Karen outside, and then they never came in. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, there would be no reason to ask. And you don't just have probable cause immediately, especially if Karen's out there screaming, could I have hit him? Did I hit? Like, you have to remember all these things that are happening at the same time. You know, it's that once Karen says that, there's no probable cause to be had for that house. Once she says that, and you can't, it's not probable cause just because he's outside. If somebody had said like, oh yeah, he came in or used the bathroom or anything like that, then they would have had like some sort of probable cause to search the house and look. But the opposite was happening. So there was no reason to search the house at that point. No, you don't need probable cause to ask, but you wouldn't ask unless you had a reason to. Cops are still going around asking to search people's houses unless there's something that leads them to believe that they need to. And if they don't ask, then they just go get a warrant and do it, Like if they had any inkling or evidence to what they were getting was completely to the contrary of that, completely to the contrary of that. Hold on. Okay, so I'll turn the camera on in a second. My little thinks that she's going to be on camera and she's not. So, yeah. So it says that they could have, you know, to talk to Jen McCabe again and tried to cross. They said they didn't need to. And then this is about the juror dismissal. It says the defendants claim that a lieutenant of the Massachusetts State Police was in charge of jury security is patently false. At no time did Lieutenant John Fanning have contact with nor control or influence over the jury, nor was there jury tampering that deprived Miss Reed of her constitutional right to a fair trial. Defendant motion at 3-4. The defense brazen misrepresentation previously proffered in media interviews in direct violation of the impoundment order of juror discussions and sidebars. Hold on. Sorry, my little wanted to know if I knew where her fake nails were as I rearranged her room. It's in the pink circle thing. All your beauty stuff is in the pink circle thing in your room. You find it? Okay. Right. Right. So that's another thing. She told Jen she left him at the waterfall, and Jen was like, "No, I saw you outside." Like, so like that, it's going to be hard to say otherwise. So it says the defense brazen misrepresentation previously proffered in media interviews in direct violation of the impoundment order of juror discussions and sidebars solely to mislead the public and jeopardize the integrity of the judicial proceedings are false and dishonest misrepresentation. Ouch, once again. And this is going to piss the judge off too. Like, you are misrepresenting again right after you were just accused of doing it. Like, hello? Like, the judge is not going to find this cute in any way, shape, or form. The executive branch, hold on. All right, sorry. She really wants these nails that I don't know where they are. I don't see them anywhere. All right, so this has got to be the end here. It says, indirect violation of the impoundment order of juror discussions and sidebars solely to mislead the public and jeopardize the integrity of the judicial proceedings are false and dishonest misrepresentations. The executive branch of government is separate and distinct from the judiciary. The governance of the jury is solely within the power of the trial court and sworn court officers. The defendant's first trial raised significant safety concerns for both parties, members of the victim's family, witnesses, court staff, media, and the public. To effectuate both the defense and Commonwealth's rights to a fair trial, this court ordered a buffer zone around the courthouse. To enforce the buffer zone and maintain order, approximately 50 uniformed officers from the Massachusetts State Police and other departments were deployed each day on foot, motorcycle, and bike in the area directly surrounding the courthouse. Additional law enforcement resources were available in proximity to the courthouse at the Dedham Police Station. As a superior officer assigned to the Norfolk District Attorney's Detective Unit, the only supervisor who was not a trial witness, Lieutenant Fanning, was one of the commanding officers who was involved in the safety and peacekeeping efforts occurring outside the courthouse. Yet somehow the defense conflates that fact to misrepresent that Lieutenant Fanning therefore improperly influenced and tampered with the jury. To do so, the defense omits the remainder of Assistant District Attorney McLaughlin's statement to the court. ADA McLaughlin stated, and then they redact it, okay? And it says on February 17th, 2020, hold on a second. It says February 17th, Boston News, this is 2025. Boston 25 News aired an interview with the defendant and Attorney Jackson, where Attorney Jackson stated that Lieutenant Fanning was the very person governing the jury. You don't govern. There's no such thing as governing a jury. It's to keep them safe. It's to keep everybody safe. Like, and they don't even interact. They just make sure they're safely getting where they need to go and getting off the bus, getting on the bus. That's it. You just watch, make sure they're safe. Like, it's not hard. Like, where Attorney Jackson stated that Lieutenant Fanning was the very person governing the jury. Attorney Jackson also stated, despite representations in this court filing, that he had no specific evidence of jury tampering. Audio and video of interview available at blah, 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 beginning at, and then he gives, you know, the stamps on it. It says, however, that something's redacted, and it says, however, conveniently omitted from defense's filing and extrajudicial statements is the following from ADA McLaughlin, redacted again. Exhibit S, and then it says, at no time did Lieutenant Fanning enter the Norfolk Superior Courthouse during the defendant's trial. Moreover, he never saw, let alone spoke to any member of the jury. Furthermore, there is absolutely no evidence that dismissal of the juror was improper. And then I guess they're giving the reason why they dismissed said juror. It says the defendant's preposterous claim, one that Attorney Jackson has stated that had no specific evidence of, should be rejected outright. In sum, the defendant's motion should be denied. The defendant can show no irreparable prejudice to her right to a fair trial, nor has the evidence in good faith shown that the Commonwealth engaged in a prosecutorial misconduct. Presumptive prejudice warrants dismissal to prevent repetition of misconduct. They were citing a case. Dismissal of the case is accordingly not appropriate. Further, where the defense's claims do not raise any substantial issues, the request for an evidentiary hearing should be denied. Hank, Brennan, Lally, McLaughlin, you know, that was it. I mean, beautifully written, as always. You know, it's very, very true. Like, it's very, very true. Like, it's all garbage. Like, unfortunately. And it's like, this was their last sort of hurrah, right? It was their last effort to feed the Free Henry mob some sort of issues, you know, that they want to deal with. Like, unfortunately, like, once again, as Hank said, there not only is absolutely no actual evidence to any of that absolute nonsense, but there's no, like, teeth to that legal argument. Fanning never interacted with any of the jury. The Jen McCabe being at Lank's house to drop a kid off proves nothing that has anything to do with Karen or her case. Okay. And the video is the same shit that they have in 7 different angles already. And also, they didn't know it existed. So none of it is going to help her get it dismissed. It will not be dismissed. There is a 0% chance that any of that will be taken seriously by anyone on planet Earth, especially in the court. The judge is not taking it seriously. The only people taking that seriously is Free Karen Reed for the fodder, unfortunately. Anybody in the legal community who actually knows what it would take to have a motion to dismiss is shaking their head going, what the, I wouldn't have ever even put that in. That is like an embarrassment. Like, what the hell? That's not even a Hail Mary. That's not even an Our Father. Like, never mind a Hail Mary. Like, what? I don't even know. Like, I'd be embarrassed. Like, for that kind of money you paid the attorneys the first go around, that's embarrassing. Like, sorry. Like, it's just insane. The one in the pink, that's the one. The one in the pink dress, the one that was dismissed. Oh yeah, that was the other one. The one who kept getting drunk and professing she was Free Karen Reed at night. She got pulled over apparently, I guess, and the cop let her go because she was telling the cop she's Free Karen Reed and she's on the jury of Karen Reed, so she's got to be at jury duty tomorrow and she can't, you got pulled over drinking, dude. You should have been arrested. I don't care whether you were a jury or not. Like, they weren't supervising an investigation. He's just the supervisor and he wasn't overseeing the jury. He just makes sure that everyone outside of the courthouse is safe. So the public, when the jury's getting on the bus, he never spoke to any of the jury members ever. He never even entered inside of the courthouse. Everything he did is to remain outside with other officers from other places, including the state police. You had state police, you had Dedham PD, and other places that were assisting with it. Like, this has no legs in federal court either. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't have any legs at all. None at all. The practice of making sure people are safe outside the courthouse isn't a problem. It just isn't. Most jurisdictions, especially with the buffer zone, would have had cops out there to make sure. It just has no legal legs at all. He was never in the courthouse. He never entered, Fanning specifically never entered that courthouse. Everything was outside to make sure everyone was safe, that they got on the bus safely, that people weren't trying to walk up to the bus, shit like, because that's what was happening. Like, there was some bold people doing some bold shit outside there. Believe me, I was out there. I know. Like, it was absurd. Like, I'm sorry, I'm making lots of noise. I'm trying to open a Barbie doll for my kid. Here you go. Here you go. Yeah, he didn't. He had no access. He was, basically just like security from afar. He, like, no access to the jury whatsoever. Never spoke a word to any of the jury members. Wasn't inside the courthouse at any point. He was strictly outside the courthouse for safety. That's it. Well, that's the thing. But that's the problem, right, Amber? Is that they make it sound like he had access when he didn't. And I think that's Hank's point. That's Hank's point. Is you're implying all of these things that did not happen and aren't based in reality, just so the public can read it, get outraged. Like, that's their game every time. It's not for the court, it's for the public. Like, unfortunately, like, no, I know you're not. I know you're not. But I'm answering it just so that, like, I think the tone, I guess, but it's because the defense pisses me off, because you're misleading people on purpose just to rile up the public, right? Like, you're leading people to believe that Fanning was like standing next to the jury during the whole trial, and like, no, he never even entered the courthouse. He was outside to make sure everything stayed safe. Dude, people were trying to follow the bus, the jury bus. Like, literally, I kid you, I swear to God, they were trying to follow the bus to, like, look at the jurors, see the jurors, follow the jurors. Like, I kid you not when I say, like, it was cuckoo bananas out there. Like, there was a ton of officers everywhere. Like I said, bike cops. Like, there was just cops everywhere. Like, I think, like, they give this impression to the public that Fanning was talking to the jury, so he could have influenced them because he was overseeing them, but he was also overseeing the investigation. None of that happened. He never spoke a single word to any of the jury members at all. So how do you have jury tampering if the man never speaks to a jury member? You don't. You can't, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't. It doesn't exist. Like, I appreciate you. Well, that's part of the problem is they sort of chew down on all these like salacious misrepresentations, and I think that was also part of the the judge being upset the other day was because like these are the sort of misrepresentations they make and what they make it seem like without saying it outright. And that is not okay. That is still a misrepresentation to the court, the way you are representing it. Like, you can't be like, well, I didn't actually say. That is the way, that's what you're implying. Okay. So if that is what you're implying, you are representing that to the court, you know? Like, exactly. Ronnie the juror had no idea who Fanning was because he had never talked to him. And he's not gonna pick out which one of the policemen outside is Fanning. You know what I mean? That one over there. That one's Fanning. No, they're not gonna know. Like, and it's sad because Free Karen Reed refuses to sort of even take anything that juror actually said that even made sense, which is they didn't buy any of the experts. A lot of the people like realized they were there to confuse. That, you know, Jen McCabe was credible. All the things that they cry and whine about are the opposite of what actual real life people are seeing. And the fact that they don't see or understand that is a problem. Like, if you're living in an echo chamber, you're never going to see a problem with anything. You broaden your horizons a little, dude. Have some respectful conversations, but also realize that there are things that are being told that are not true. And if those things aren't true, then does the conspiracy still make sense? Does the cover up still make sense? Does a conspiracy or cover up make sense if the federal government had way more than the state will ever have? Way more. We're talking phone dumps. We're talking actual coordinates of where people were positioned, where, and they found mean texts from Proctor that were, you know, inappropriate, but no cover up, no corruption, no frame job happening. The federal government found nothing. Nothing. And that doesn't rise in people's mind to go, wait a minute, maybe there's no frame job, because the federal government had to rule all those things out to not charge anybody. They had to make sure everyone was cleared. You don't get an objection, you're overruled, sir. The only thing you can object about are my eyebrows because they need to be done desperately, but you cannot object about anything else. You are overruled, sir. But that's the thing. What do you think people lied about? So that's the thing, right? Because the most thing that I hear is, oh, well, they lied when they said X, Y, or Z. And it's like, do you know why they said that? Do you know what happened in their personal lives? No, you're assuming they lied because someone told you they lied. But that someone who told you they lied to you. See, that's the problem that I have, which is like, you say they lied because someone told you they lied, not because they actually lied. It's just because someone said they did, when in reality, they didn't lie. And also, I have a problem with people saying that like lying is because they didn't use the exact words that they used last time when they explained it. If you explain something 5 times, 6 months or a year apart from each other, even months apart from each other, I guarantee you're not going to use the same words every time you say it. That's not a lie. That's you explaining it over again. You might have used the word excite instead of the word happy. Like, that's not lying. You're saying the same thing in different words. That's what I have a problem with, because people go, well, she didn't say that last time. What she said was blah, blah, blah. And I go, does that not mean the same exact thing as what she said? As long as it doesn't mean anything different, it's the same thing in different words. Like, but that's the thing. What's the lie? What's the lie? Nobody can give me what the lie is that they said. No one. Butt dials aren't lies. I do it all the fucking time, dude. Like, I literally do it. Anybody who can tell you I'm on in like a Facebook chat group with them or a chat group, I have literally done it a million times. One time I did it like four times in one day, and I did it twice the next day. Like, I kid you not. Like, well, that's gonna be the next thing, is the feds are in on it too. Oh, you did? See, I can't get on my fucking Twitter on my computer. I tried, and I don't know what it's like telling me it doesn't exist. And I'm like, okay, weird. Well, that's the thing. There's no reasonable doubt. The doubt is unreasonable. It's not reasonable. Like, that's the issue. It has to be reasonable doubt. That the doubt that they're like, that's reasonable. So that's the thing. If you don't think there's a conspiracy or a cover up, then that means the defense lied outright, right? Like they're lying because that's what they're claiming, right? So if they're lying about that, you don't think they're lying about other things? That's where I don't understand where people aren't, you know what I'm saying? If they're lying about that, what else do you do you think they're lying about, you know? Like what are the coincidences outside of butt dials? They had no preservation orders for these phones, and also FYI, the feds got all that. So where the state might not have gotten like the phone records, the feds did get it. They did get all that. They went through that in the entire investigation. They cleared those people. So like butt dials or getting a new phone after 2 years, there's no preservation. He had every right. Brian Albert had every right to get a new phone. There was no preservation order for his phone. They were denied having any more thing. After a year and a half, he has every right to get a new phone, dude. Higgins dumps his trash on the base because he doesn't have trash pickup at his house. The Cape, there are lots of towns that don't have it. You either go to the dump with a sticker during business hours that suck, because if you work during those hours, you're kind of screwed. Or like him and that very base, I have literally dumped trash on that very base with my friend and her dad. Her dad is a vet and they didn't have trash pickup either. So we used to bring their trash right on over to the dumpsters there and dump it. Like, because he couldn't go to the dump during the day, he worked or was sleeping. Like, so, like, because he worked nights, some nights and days, his schedule was all retarded. Some days he would work days and some days he would work nights, and it like went 2 at a time, and then he'd have a day off and then 2 at a time. So like we would dump the trash there. Like he'd load it up into the thing, and there's a little sticker that says you're a vet, and we'd bring it over there and dump the trash. Essentially the exact same thing that Brian Higgins did, because he had no trash pickup. Like, but it's again, nobody knows these little things because they've been living in an echo chamber. Well, that's the thing. The conspiracy that they're involving now involves all of the feds, all of the cops, the ME, you know what I'm saying? Like now the whole family, everyone in the house, everyone outside the house, anybody who sticks up for them, everyone's involved. All of us, everybody. And yeah, any conspiracy someone would have flipped by now. That's definitely 100% true. Like, you're supposed to know a preservation order is coming. Also, the preservation order was for shit they already had. There was no preservation order for shit they never, there was nothing that they were going to get that they didn't already have. The feds had everything, every single thing, and they still found nothing. So, like, you're supposed to know a preservation order is coming. Nobody's going to know that. No one's going to, there's no way to know that. The court has to rule on it, and it has to be asked of the court. But here's the thing. The state might not have got it, but the feds did get it. The feds have it all. They found nothing. That doesn't give you pause at any point. At any point, it doesn't say to you like, okay, they got rid of their phones. That's irrelevant. The feds already had all the information, right? The state might not have, but the feds did. And the feds still found nothing. Nothing suspicious, no conspiracy, no sign of a cover up, no sign of them being involved in anything. And they had all those phone records from every person. It didn't disappear. Nobody's phone disappeared. Brian Albert got a new one, which he had every right to after almost 2 years. And Higgins got a new one. You think what? The defense believes it's a conspiracy? No chance. They know the evidence. Exactly. They did exactly what they asked of them the entire time. The entire time. And destroy his word. They didn't just, Brian Albert didn't destroy his phone. He traded it in for a new one. Like, and the motion had failed. but it's not right before. And I'm not really concerned about butt dials. I mean, what do you think butt dials exactly would prove in this case? Butt dials prove that someone besides Karen is guilty? No, the feds still have all that information. So the feds know all the calls. The feds know all the text messages. The feds know where every person was. All of it. They know it all. They still found nothing. That doesn't give you any pause. So all the information that the Commonwealth, that the defense can bitch about they don't have or they didn't get or they wanted, the feds had all of it. Every last bit of it. And they still found nada. Nothing. Nonce. Zero. Like, bingo. Well, that's the thing. It can't be everyone else but Karen. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? Do you know the Muffin Man? I had to. I'm sorry. It was there. It was in my head. I had to. No, it doesn't require the actual phone. That's another problem I'm saying. She's changed her story too many times for it to make the truth doesn't change. It just doesn't. Like, see, that's not the issues you bring up are not reasonable doubt. They're unreasonable. Those don't prove anything. They prove absolutely nothing. And if the feds had all of that, declined to charge anyone, found no conspiracy, no cover up, and cleared everyone, then I don't know how anybody's even arguing any of it anymore, to be honest. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, Jane makes a good point every time. So because he got rid of his phone and got a new one, it means Karen didn't back up and hit John. They didn't find microscopic pieces of taillight on his clothes. The 13 didn't find her taillight and then reconstruct it. Yeah, all those things still happened. All that evidence is still there against Karen, whether Brian got a new phone or not. And the feds did get all the information. Like, I think she did think that she was like teaching him a lesson. Like, we very well know she can't hold her rage well. She wears it on her face in court in front of the jury. Like, when you make smug facial expressions and you laugh and you like in front of a jury, like, that means that you have not only no self-awareness, but you can't control yourself. You cannot control yourself. Like, but if she was smashed, right? If she was drunk and she backed up in the snow, that's all the charge requires, is that she committed a felony and someone got hurt in the course of that felony, which would be drinking and driving. It doesn't require intent to prove. That charge doesn't require that she intended to do it or not. It just requires that during you did something that a reasonable person would have known could have caused death or bodily injury. Backing up in the snow during a blizzard drunk, a reasonable person would know could cause bodily harm or injury or death. That too. Like, they know what data is still going to show up. The call log's still gonna, like, you could still get that from the phone company. It doesn't, you don't need the phone for it. You know? Money might buy a good defense the first time, but even they didn't buy it the first time, and now it's changing the second time. Ugh. I did too, but I also followed it pre-trial. I streamed every day of trial. That's the thing. They're not, like Frank said, they're not directly related to the crime and the evidence that shows what happened, right? Like, it doesn't raise a point if she didn't commit the crime. Like, and it has to be reasonable doubt. Nobody thinks it's reasonable if you're going, oh, well, the butt dials. What about the butt dials? What about the phones they got rid of? they still get the call logs. It's irrelevant whether they have the actual phone or not. Like, maybe they were cheating on their spouses. Maybe they had porn. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't want somebody going through my phone. Do you want somebody going through your phone? I mean, hey, you guys want to be my guest. I mean, you're going to find lots of pictures of my kids, text messages from crazy people all over the world, like sending me threats and all sorts of crazy nonsense from the cult, but nothing real super interesting. I'm kind of boring. Like, well, that's another one. She said, no one knows where. She knew exactly where he was. Like, they can charge you federally in the state. Like, they can charge you both. They can charge you state and federally. They charge Farwell federally because they wanted the death penalty on him. And we don't have a state death penalty here in Mass. So the only way you can get the death penalty on a case like that is to charge federally. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you go on to Frank's Twitter, he does a lot of really great reconstructions of a lot of the stuff. No, it's not possible John went in the house. We know that. We know that he didn't go in the house. So do the feds. We know for 1,000% certainty he didn't go in the house. John's phone stopped moving forever on that lawn right after Karen backed up. John never entered that house, ever. Well, I don't expect everybody to know how the legal system works, but I do expect some people to learn if they're interested in it, to actually like go and educate yourself or find a way to educate yourself in it, because it's important to know what certain things mean, especially when it comes to trials. Because I see a lot of people saying a lot of things on Twitter that have nothing to do with a trial, something that would never be brought into a trial, something that's completely irrelevant to a trial, like people not understanding what certain things mean and why certain things are said, like people not understanding that it's not about the thing that the ARCA guy said about nighttime. Like, they were harping on that, like, well, we already knew there was pedestrian strikes at nighttime, and Hank said, oh, we wish he had that. It wasn't about what he said. It was about having the entire communication that was hidden from it. It's not about the exact part that he says. It's about the entirety of it being withheld from him. Like, they miss the entire point because they don't actually know how a trial or the legal system works. So they don't get it. And it's like frustrating because it's like, all right, if you don't understand it, like, go educate yourself so you do. Don't stop listening to random people on the internet. You don't even have to listen to me. Go look yourself. I urge you to go educate yourself. Like, not in my opinion, and obviously most of the jury didn't see reasonable doubt either. They did not buy the conspiracy. They did not find the experts credible. We know this, and the data proves he never went in the house. That's right. Hi, Casey. They absolutely proved it. What do you mean? They used John's coordinates from his phone and Karen's data from her car to show seconds after John gets out of the car, okay, Karen backs up and John's phone stops moving forever within seconds and never moves again. You might as well have taken a video of that. That's how much proof that is. It never moves again, ever. So she is there when he stops moving forever. That's pretty damn good evidence in my book. He didn't go in that house. Karen will never take the stand. We know this. It's close to the house, but it's not in the house. They have the GPS coordinates. He never went in the house. His phone shows he never went in the house. So you can be close to the house, but he never went inside. And the data proves he never went inside. Yeah, you might want to go back and watch like a lot of the pre-trial, because watching pre-trial and then the trial, you see where the defense starts to change the story, and then throughout trial where they change the story. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you should see that was pre-trial, especially when it comes to John's phone. And they mapped out the entire area. Like there's a whole map of the area. Yeah, he was actually closer to the neighbor on the left side of the house because he was all the way to the left of the property in the very front, like in the front of the property, all the way to the left. It was like right along the tree line to the next house over. In order to believe that the taillight was planted, and there's video of them literally like blowing and digging, like, so in order to prove that the taillight was planted, somebody would have had to plant it underneath the snow. It started snowing hours before that. So if you plant taillight under the snow, there's going to be marks where someone put it in. That was fresh snow, hadn't been touched since hours before that. So you can't plant taillight in the snow, under the snow, for them to find under the snow without there being marks there. And if you believe that the taillight was planted, then you have to believe it was planted in front of numerous CERT team members, because the car didn't even get to Canton until after the CERT team was already on the scene. So the taillight would have had to be planted in front of people, because Karen had the car up until 3, almost 4 o'clock-ish. So you would have to believe either Karen herself planted the taillight or they planted it in front of people. That's the only two options that there are. Hey, everybody be nice. She can believe Karen's innocent. That's totally fine. I just want to point out the things that wouldn't jive to her so that she can think about it, you know? And yes, the infotainment system does have a backup camera, and they got more stuff this time. So there's a very real possibility that they may have captured something on camera of that backup cam. Might not be a lot because it was snowing, and I know that on my old car, even with the backup cam, when it started snowing, the camera would get all gummed up with the snow. Even rain, but rain wasn't as bad. The snow would just cover the camera, you know? Well, that's another thing, is that car would have been beeping. Beep, 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 beep. And some cars, like my sister's van, it'll automatically brake if it gets too close to something. My sister's car will literally brake for you if you don't hit the automatically brake. Well, that's the thing. That would be unreasonable. That'd be unreasonable, right? Like if somebody said an alien did it, that would be unreasonable. It wouldn't be reasonable. Well, that's the thing. If it doesn't jive with the reality and the evidence that we do have, then there's a disconnect there. Then something isn't right, right? But when all the pieces of a puzzle start fitting together, then you're starting to get your answer. The pieces that Karen have don't fit into the puzzle, or the pieces that she claims she has, and none of them are actually real evidence. It's all just speculation and pointing fingers. Nothing of actual evidence to prove any of what she claims happened, and then she's changed her story 5 times. The actual real life evidence does fit into the puzzle of what the Commonwealth is claiming happened. It fits correctly into the puzzle. ARCA is not reasonable doubt. ARCA has now, like, first of all, let's remember that the jurors in the first trial didn't believe ARCA. Secondly, ARCA did not have all of the information they would actually need to make an assertion. Thirdly, the two things that they did was make a cannon to shoot at the back of the car, which nobody claimed happened. Nobody claimed that John threw a glass at the back of the car. So they did that. That's what they checked. And then they checked, oh, fuck, I forget what the second thing was. But again, these aren't things that the Commonwealth claimed. So they checked 2 things that nobody claimed happened. So I don't even know where you would say that like ARCA would do anything, because the 2 things that they did, that they tested, had nothing to do with what the Commonwealth says happened. Also, they were told not to try to get any more information. They did not have the Lexus data, which they're tech stream experts, but they didn't have the tech stream data. And any expert that says that their opinion wouldn't change if they had that data, the time of day, the wind speeds, the weather, and all of that they would have to factor in, if they say, no, there's no way my opinion would change if I had that information, then you can't be an expert, because no real expert is going to say, well, of course, if I had that information, that maybe it would change. But that's not what they said. They said, no, my opinion will not change, which didn't make any sense, and probably partly why the jury didn't buy it, because no real expert would say that if they had more information. They're not reasonable doubt. And also now they have no credibility anymore. They were not unbiased witnesses. They've never been unbiased witnesses. They were paid by the defense. And as we know, they even wrote something like, oh, I won't say that if you don't want me to. That's not an unbiased witness. You threw your credibility out of a window. They threw their credibility out of a window anyway. And they completely, if you want to believe Arca, then you would also have to believe that Karen didn't crack her taillight backing into John's car, because Arca says that didn't happen. Like that, her own experts say that didn't happen. So it's like it's one or the other here. It can't be both. You know what I'm saying? Like Arca has lost their credibility. And even in the first trial, like the jurors thought they were sent there to confuse. They were sent there to confuse. It's exactly what they were sent there for, like, yes, toss it. She's entitled to believe what she wants. That's fine. I'm still going to point out like what we, know, so that maybe she can go back and look at it and say, you know what? Maybe I was wrong, Well, yeah, if you search for a reason, there's always going to be one. Always, always, always. Well, it is. If you search for a reason, there'll always be one. If you're looking for something bad to happen, you're always going to find something bad, Like that's, yeah, the hair, that was another thing, Right. That's, we want courteous people who aren't calling people names and trying to throw, insults at people. That's we want those kind of discussions. My little wants to take my phone. So hold on a second so I can give her my phone. I'm just going to check real quick. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any donations to say thank you for, because I don't want to miss out on saying thank you to anybody. I just want to check my email real quick to make sure. A lot of you guys like to do PayPal. I think I've thanked everyone from PayPal thus far. But speaking of which, if you do want to donate to the channel and help my channel grow and help it operate, you can do so with PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. I appreciate it. It goes a long way for my stream and my channel. I'm just a teeny tiny channel, so we don't get much. If I get anything that pop up, you bring it back, okay? So I greatly appreciate donations to my channel. No, I don't, Riley. Yeah, they sure did. Bugs Bunny planted it. They could. Bugs Bunny could plant it. I don't know. I think this new like cream that I have is not like liking my skin. It's making my skin kind of itchy. It's like a concentrate, because I get rosacea. I have psoriasis, so I get rosacea right here on my cheeks and like along my hairline. And I just tried it today, and it's like making my skin itchy. I don't like that. My skin's already dry enough, doesn't need to be itchy, but also I've been blowing my nose for 3 days. I feel like my throat's starting to get a tickle. I know I'm getting like one of those 24-hour bugs at the very least. I am not feeling it, dude. I do not want to be laid up in my bed. Yeah. But blow dryers on Arca. I know. It's literally exhausting. I'll keep you sharp. I'll keep you all sharp. It was, yeah, they have the whole video of it being discovered. I don't know if she knows that or not, but they played it. some of it in trial, but yes, they videotaped the entire thing, which was so smart of them. So it's like, where do you'd have to believe it was planted before that video. And in order for it to be planted before that video, the car has to actually be near Canton to do that, right? Like, so again, it would have to be done in front of the CERT team. So that's why it doesn't make sense. I think she seems like someone who would accept it if she was found guilty. She doesn't seem like someone who wouldn't accept what the jury said, you know. She has been nice. I appreciate that, because not everybody who comes here is nice when they have a different opinion, you know? It does give me a headache to go in circles, but these are the conversations we need to have, because if we don't have them, then maybe people don't really realize it. It could be the conversation they have with me, or maybe the conversation they have with you that makes them realize it. You know, you never know. Yeah, that exactly. They did. They did. They absolutely did, Christina. Good point. They did. Well, that's definitely unreasonable, as we know. As we know, that's extremely unreasonable. Yeah, inconsistent. Well, that's another thing. They like to claim, like, they said it couldn't have happened. That is not what happened. And then they claim the feds say that. The feds never said that. Also, FYI, the feds never said such a thing. ARCA said that it was inconsistent, but that's also before they had any text stream data, weather data, the wind levels, the temperature. Yes, and nobody said he hit his head on the car. He probably hit his head on the curb or the ground, which was frozen. You know, you don't need to have a broken arm. Somebody can get plowed by a car at 30 miles an hour, get up and walk away. It's every person is different. I think there's a video that we posted. Oh God, let's see, maybe 2 months ago, maybe two ago. And it shows a woman, she gets hit from the car at the front, and it's going like in the front, it nails her. She goes, skids like feet, however many feet, gets up unscathed. Unscathed, no bruises, no marks, no, she's completely unscathed. And you know, and that's another thing. We don't think he was hit head on in the back from the back of the car. I think he was clipped. Like, so, you know, it's not. And also you have to remember, he directly landed in the ice, in the snow, which would stop bruising. The cold restricts your blood vessels. So if you immediately get hit and you end up in the snow, it's going to stop the bruising. That's why they tell you to put peas or something. But you usually don't get to the peas until like you've already had a minute or two to start bruising. This man was immediately put into freezing temps. Yes, thank you. Exactly, Frank. Exactly. It narrows the blood vessels, the cold does. Oh, yes. Been there, done that. Had to do that one time. And actually, I didn't get a single scrape on my elbow when I did that. It's a hard ass elbow. Well, that's another thing. They never did x-rays because nobody on planet Earth could have thought that they were actually going to have this, you know, theory, this evolving theory. Yes, it does not. All right. I love you all so much. I've been here almost 4 hours. So I'm going to go because I'm starving like a hostage. And you guys can send me messages on Twitter, you know, emails. Some of you have my number. I love you all to pieces, but I am starving like a hostage and I'm going to start getting hangry real soon. So I have to go. But I love you guys, and I will be back Tuesday. We have a hearing to cover, and that's going to be a very important one. So I hope you guys enjoyed yourself and y'all had your coffee. If you want to donate to the channel and you are on my replay crew, because I absolutely love my replay crew. We love you. We love you, love you, love you. You can do so on Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. I appreciate you. If you do it when I'm not live anymore, then I will thank you on the next live stream when I am live, because I like to make sure that I thank everyone when I am live. That's just how I do things, because I appreciate it. I am the tiny channel. I am trying to grow little by little. And we're getting there, you know, and I love you guys to pieces. So I appreciate you all. I love you all. I hope everybody has a fantastic Sunday, right? Sunday fun day. So y'all make sure y'all have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the other side, Twitter or otherwise. All right? Bye.